Hello, everybody. Welcome to a prediction for my favorite matchup of all time, Silver Surfer versus the Martian Manhunter. Today, I'm joined by Akhil, and also back after 2 years. Introduce yourself.
The Bang has returned from
Yeah.
After 2
Texas.
years.
I'm back. I made it. After comatose for 2 years, I'm back.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm just kidding. I was in Texas for 2 years because I was serving a religious mission, which you probably remember from the Kyle versus Seaman video. But now I returned with the penultimate trio, me, Akhil, and Nemesis. So it's good to be back, no less to a Marvel versus DC fight. Let's go.
They haven't
My
right.
most wanted as of now.
Well, not anymore.
It's
It's not your
happening,
most
finally.
wanted
I'm so
now.
excited.
Because it can't be your
Well, I
most
mean,
wanted because you're currently happening. Come on.
yeah. Unless this is all a big dream, which I'm hoping it's not.
Well,
He's
then,
gonna
then
wake up and Surfer's gonna lose.
then the next time versus Bill Cord actually would fit if this was all just a big dream.
That would be so sad.
Don't worry, you're not dreaming.
I better not be.
So yeah, we're here to talk about the ways in which Martian Manhunter absolutely stomps the loser on a surfboard.
Yeah, I hate to say it, Akil, but this is a takeover. We
Mhm.
want
Yeah,
Green
Awesome.
Booger Boy is gonna win.
it's gonna absolutely
You heard it
destroy
first live.
the same
And then
way
he's
in
gonna
which he
eat.
destroys
He's
Big
gonna
Bird.
eat his choco cookies and double stuff. His kitty's gonna come on the screen, and he's gonna hit the gritty.
Perfect.
It's gonna kill Silver Surfer, and then he's gonna go to Galactus, and he's gonna slap Galactus in the face too. And then he's gonna throw
As
Silver
he
Surfer
should.
to him and be like, "Hey, here's your Herald, you fucking loser. You're the reason we have Herald as a tier, douchebag." And then he's gonna go. Which is funny because Silver Surfer is not the first Herald at all. He's just the
It's
first
so
one that was
annoying
made.
hearing the word Harold, because now when I think of like someone in real life named Harold, I immediately think, can they destroy a universe with 12 spatial dimensions?
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know.
Who knows?
Perhaps. You should make them mad.
I don't know any Heralds, so this is good that I don't.
I don't know any either.
I do not know any Heralds either. No, it's not a particularly common name down here, to my knowledge.
What are common names on Australia and New Zealand?
Fucking hell, everyone's got a different name. I met like at least 3 people named Brooke, I guess.
Okay.
Like 2 Rileys, 4 Jordans.
There's a lot of Rileys and Brooks here as well.
Hey, my brother's name Riley.
See,
There's a lot of common names, but I don't
Yeah.
know any particularly like specifically Australian names. Fuck.
Hmm.
Alright, so Silver Surfer and Martian Manhunter. Let's talk about them.
All right. So I believe we start with Manhunter first, because I think it's Manhunter's on the left side of the title and Surfer is on the right.
yeah, Manhunter's first.
All right, sweet.
Well, yeah, he's the big name. He's carrying this.
Yeah, sorry, Surfer. Surfer's
Surfer-
forever
it's
stuck
not
with
that-
like the.
It's not that Surfer's unpopular. There's like a whole movie named after him, but like Martian Manhunter doesn't have that. But Manhunter's like a very iconic character.
Yeah, we have him in Injustice, Jail, Unlimited, most of the animated movies. Surfer is attached to like the most crappy Fantastic Four sequel, and probably the only one that exists.
It's the
where
only
Galactus was just
Fantastic-
a
it's the
giant
only
cloud.
Fantastic Four sequel, yeah.
And then the one commercial with Hank Hill
Yeah.
saying that he can sell his propane galaxy wide.
I'm pretty sure people were quite excited both at Manhunter's cameo at the end of the Snyder Cut and his like reveal in the CW Supergirl. Like both of those got people pretty excited. Just because like Manhunter's very popular.
He is. And I'll go ahead and open it up by talking about what our Martian Manhunter fella can do.
Yeah.
So we'll start off with John Jaws. So one thing that sets John Jaws apart from the other leaguers is he is a Martian from the planet Mars. And in DC, they kind of ran with the whole idea of what if there's green aliens that exist out there, because he's quite literally a green alien from Mars. But this green alien has a lot of complex structures in his body that allow him to control his molecular state, such as controlling his density, texture, mass, length, color, the shape of his body. Along with that, all Martians retain some form of telepathic abilities. So, the Martian physiology includes a lot of that, as well as a few other powers. And the biggest one that many people regard with Martian Manhunter is his telepathy. And telepathy at its core is the ability to tap into or read the mind, being able to read the subconscious, being able to send telepathic messages to people, speak with the mind, hear people's thoughts, know people's thoughts. There's a lot of versatility that comes with telepathy. And Martian Manhunters has some of the best in DC period. He is quite literally regarded as the best telepath on the planet, up against other people like Aquaman or Gorilla Grodd, Dr. Psycho. Martian Manhunter is probably one of the best ones out of all of them. And he's got many abilities that come with his telepathy, and one of them is his ability to read minds, a fundamental one where he can peer into the instant and current thoughts of people, their intents, motivations, and their subconscious as well. And then the next one he can use is the telepathic link ability, where he can not only read minds over great distances, but he can scan the mind, and by doing so, create a telepathic link or a tether between them that can regularly access these thoughts or feelings. And the limit to this is not really known. We know for a fact that he's done it with the Justice League and probably every single person on the planet multiple times. And this is one that, as far as range goes, it's also unsure how far the range can go. And then we have his ability where he can mentally probe people, accessing the psyche, the essence, and the memories to gain valuable information. And then one of the most powerful ones he can use, but doesn't use too often, is the memory erasure ability. And this is an ability that allows him to reprogram the mind of a subject into whatever he wants them to believe, which can be a form of mind control as well. And he can use this ability to help people forget things that he does not want them to remember, and that leaves them typically in a post-hypnotic state where they don't remember anything. And this is an ability that he has used on the Justice League multiple times, as well as other characters that will be talked about later. And then one other thing he can do with memories is absorb them. When he gains that information, he can use it and store it into himself to increase his knowledge on what to do or use with them. And one ability he has shown in Rebirth is this ability called Memory Missiles, where he can quite literally just weaponize memories to attack people as a form of telepathic assault. And then the next ability he can use is illusions, which are also telepathic in nature. He can cast illusions over the mind to make a reality that can feel and look real but isn't. And this can somewhat extend it into his next ability of being able to generate mental landscapes. And these can be illusions where there can be more hands-on, and he can actually bring people into them with prior knowledge of where they are directly present. And he can make places that look and feel physical for others to enter and access in their own minds, almost like it's a virtual reality. He's done this with the Justice League many times to hold private meetings. He was able to do this to the Spectre, well, Hal Jordan was a Spectre, to take him into Joker's mind to show him that there's good in everyone, although I don't really know if you can do that with the Joker, but that's besides the point. He can also astrally project his body, so if his body is destroyed or beyond repair far enough, he still has access to his soul, where he can, through the mental landscape ability, he can extract his own soul out of his body to be in a different place, and he can do this with others as well, in the form of manipulating souls. He was able to take Green Arrow out of his body to take him into a mental landscape, and he is also able to take control of the life essence of their soul, being able to remove them from people's body, like when he did to Harley's soul when it was stuck in Wonder Woman's body, and he can take these souls and even trap them in bodies. One of his famous abilities is in the JLA run of 1997. He was able to prevent the souls of thousands of Martians from entering into the afterlife. He put them in a state of dormancy that prevented them from doing that, all under his own mental power. And then he can also relay information telepathically. Since he's a telepath, he can use the prowess of it to relay to a group of minds who he can speak with information that is important. And like others, we're not sure how far the range goes, but we can assume this one can at least be intergalactic, because one of the biggest feats for this is when he telepathically contacted the Justice League from across the cosmos before he was murdered during the lead up to Final Crisis. He also has his main offensive ability of telepathic assault. This is one that he can use in an offensive manner. It can range from things like mental shutdown to using his psionic powers in the form of beams in the form of bombardment of memories and attacks, and this can include a lot of powers used in it, like bombarding them with illusions or thoughts or memories of others. And he's used on many other characters that we will also be discussing later on. And they can also sense the thoughts of people, being able to use the mental signature of someone to track down their thoughts and detect life forms by their empathic signatures. He can detect whether a being is intelligent or not, sentient, communicate with it emphatically, if it does not have a communication-driven frame of reference with which normal telepathy may function. Another ability is he can put people to sleep telepathically. He can use this as a form of calming the mind, and he's done this to a couple of people. He's used a telepathic nudge to put Diana to sleep, and he kept a being named Vishnu asleep to prevent creation itself from being pretty much ended. And another thing he can manipulate is emotions in the form of empathic manipulation. So, due to being able to detect like emotions and mental states, he can also alter them both on others and himself. One of the more famous feats of this is when he made the Joker go from insane to sane. He changed his emotions. And this is very interesting because not even the Spectre was able to truly understand or dissect into Joker's mind without being forced out immediately. He was also able to alter the emotions of a character named the Red King, and after this was after he was vulnerable due to absorbing emotions. And one thing his telepathy also offers is he can project the mental essence of people into something known as the Great Mind to telepathically augment himself. Through this, the community in which is in the Great Mind can enhance the telepathic strength of other Martians. And this is a power that John has shown, one that can subside effects of amnesia or psychological torture. He can also use this on the minds of others, like being able to give people telepathic abilities, like when he gave Firestorm a telepathic scanner. And on top of augmentation, he's also got defense. So there's offense and defense for his mind. And he's been able to shield his mind from the attacks and telepathic influence of other people by nature of his ability as a Martian. He's taught the Justice League many times how to defend their minds from telepathic assaults. So it should be consistent enough to say that his defenses are quite on par with his offensive abilities. And that about covers a lot of his wider telepathic abilities. As I said, we'll likely go over specific characters it has affected as the video goes on. And this is just generally laying out what he can do. And moving away from his mental capabilities, there's also his physical capabilities. So as I said before, as a Martian, he has abilities of shapeshifting, which can be a bit of a broad term. One that comes to mind is his ability to mimic the appearance of others. And I'm going to cite one of the best feats ever for this one. He turned into a woman named Hino Ray, and Batman immediately pointed it out, claiming the disguise was too obvious. So we can thank Martian Manhunter for letting us know that Batman canonically watches Sailor Moon. Thank you, Martian Manhunter, very much. We really appreciate you for that one. And his malleability is part of the shapeshifting as well, adding to his muscle mass, being able to turn into monsters, dragons, big kaiju, giant animals, being able to manipulate his density into liquid, into a state of a flattened state, whatever it may be. He can also extend his limbs, elongate them. He can make his body more flexible to resist punches, grow himself to larger sizes, or even shrink himself down to attack enemies at a microscopic level. And then this goes into the idea that he can manipulate his molecules at such a precise level that he can alter parts of his biology that if he needs to avoid an attack, such as surviving without a heartbeat, being able to filter out a DNA virus, being able to make his telepathic defenses stronger by moving his brain, etc. And then with this molecular control comes regeneration. He's regenerated his entire body from a single hand, and Batman claims that John can regrow millions of brain cells with relative ease. So his regenerative abilities are very capable, but one thing that John himself admitted was that to take him out, you have to take out every single atom within his body, as he cannot come back from that one. And another ability, if he's hit hard enough, he can split himself up into multiple people. And one of the best examples of this was in the 2015 comic run during New 52, where it was revealed that John split himself up into multiple different beings to experience Earth under the pretense of actually being different humans, and these people were called Mr. Biscuits, Pearl, Dairy, Wessel, and Mold.
What?
It was a very funny run. Yes, I'm not even joking. This was a thing, Nemesis.
I've been quiet
This-
this whole time. That one broke me. Hold on. Excuse me?
Yes, he's called Mr. Biscuits. I'll send you a picture of Mr. Biscuits.
Oh my fucking god.
Yes.
Why did he name them this?
Um, I don't know.
I mean, when there's a self-replicating cake from SCP, I don't think we can judge this.
Okay, but
Mr. Biscuits guy.
self-replicating cake, that's one thing. But if SCP-682 made a copy of himself, he wouldn't call himself Captain Butterscotch. What the fuck? Oh, okay. I have no idea what
Mr.
I'm...
Biscuits.
Oh, that's...
Yeah, Mr. Biscuits is awesome. He's the subconscious that represents a weird alien frogman, and also he enjoys Ori.
That
So-
sounds like a Mr. Rogers character.
Dude, he's
Oh,
such a giga chad.
Jesus.
Honestly, we should just end the video here and say that Mr. Biscuits beats Silver Surfer. I
Probably.
believe it.
I believe
Probably.
it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to find Mr. Biscuits a death battle. So to all the Redditors out there watching this video, please, I am asking for your support. Find an opponent for Mr. Biscuits. Please and thank you. And then moving on from there, he also has an ability to go intangible, so he can reduce his density to be so small that he is completely non-physical. This can be used to avoid attacks, go through solid objects like walls, the hulls of ships, floors, ceilings, whatever. And you can also use the phasing defensively and offensively. Defensively, it can go through Superboy Prime's heat vision, phase out of lantern constructs which have contained the souls of enemies within their batteries. He can phase through force fields Superman struggle to break out of. And on the offensive side, he can use it to phase through people to take out their organs, like their heart, or take out the brains of people, like how he did so to an Amazo model. And a few other abilities not related to either Martian physiology or telepathy are a telekinetic ability described as mind over matter. He can possess the ability to move objects with his mind, described as molecular hypnosis, and he can use these in the forms of concussive telekinetic blasts that were able to restrain and hurl away Black Adam. And then like Superman, he's got a super breath ability due to the inner valves and chambers inside his air canals being dense enough to, much like Superman, create pretty much a hurricane force of wind by exhaling all the pressurized air from his lungs in a huge burst. And next up is his Martian vision, and this one is like Superman. It's got a lot of different variants to it, and we've seen it in multiple ways. Like, it's a bolt of force, it can be directed by his eyes to do omnidirectional damage, it can be destructive, flammable, it can be energy, it can be many different things. So it's a bit vague. So we know that at least it's got heat vision, like when he uses it against a blast from Sinestro. He can function as X-ray vision, and like Superman, he can do all the other types of visions. He's got the electromagnetic spectrum vision to be able to see through the spectrums of light, telescopic vision to see vast distances, microscopic vision to view things down to the subatomic level, infrared vision, he can see different colors and degrees of light, and perception. So overall, oh yeah, and he can fly. That's cool too.
Yeah,
Overall-
as well, he can do that.
Yes. Overall, that relatively covers the abilities of the Martian Manhunter. So he's got a wide array of mental attacks, shape-shifting physiology that can give him great versatility, and a few other miscellaneous abilities for firepower, for range, for seeing, you name it. So that covers the Martian Manhunter. I'm passing the mic to Akhil to talk about Norin Rad. That's such a ridiculous name.
Norin Rad, the Silver Surfer. He
Look,
is
okay, it's a
the Herald
ridiculous
of
name.
Galactus.
It is a ridiculous name, but is it any really that much more ridiculous than John Johns?
Good question.
Hmm.
Both are kind of
Oh, you got
stupid
me.
names.
But at least John's is cool because it's got the apostrophes in between the J's.
Yeah.
I think what like kills it for me is like Norin sounds like the name of like that one uncle that showed up to the reunion like a decade before like not going to one.
Okay,
Like-
but Norin is rad.
Get to the
It's
bloody
in his
powers,
name.
Akhil.
It's his name. Okay. So he's the Herald of Galactus, which means he has the power cosmic, and that's where the term Herald came from. It came from Surfer, which is actually really ironic, as we'll get to in a bit. But as far as powers go, I'm just gonna go through the list and then elaborate. He has cosmic awareness, he has cosmic senses, he can manipulate time, he can manipulate space, he can phase through anything, pretty much turn intangible. He has telepathy, telekinesis, energy absorption, energy manipulation, energy projection, gravity manipulation, matter manipulation, size manipulation, shapeshifting, soul manipulation. He can erase you from existence. He can manipulate fate, he can manipulate higher dimensions, he can travel through dimensions, he can mess with you on a conceptual level. He has regeneration, he can speak any language in the universe because the power cosmic pretty much just auto translates whatever. And he also has a bunch of resistances. And that's just kind of scratching the surface because as you go into each power, he can do like a dozen different things with each of them. So we might as well just get to that. With his cosmic awareness, Surfer can pretty much track a specific person or an object across infinite planes of reality. He's stated multiple times that he can track a grain of dust across the infinite universe. Um, the power cosmic allows you to look into the past of an opponent by just looking at them, and one of his more busted abilities that stems from his cosmic awareness is that he can instantly know the superpowers or abilities of a certain organism as well as whatever weaknesses that they might have. He can see all of time and space at once into like one condensed thing. He can look into the past, the present, and the future all at once. And he can do this in a variety of ways. He can actually peel back the layers of time to look into the past, or he can look into a dimension called the implicate order, which is pretty much the creation point of every universe in Marvel. And by looking into that, he can pretty much see all of time as one, and he's done this multiple times. His senses allow Surfer to look into other planes of existence. He can see things that are invisible. He can see down to the microscopic electromagnetic and subatomic levels, and he can actually look even further past those levels. Um, he gave Alicia Masters, who is the Thing's wife, the ability to see on the quantum level into the implicate order dimension, which is really impressive because Alicia is actually blind, so that's pretty insane. He can see through illusions generated by abstract entities like the Stranger, and he can also instantly sense different types of energy as well as where they came from and all the qualities that the energy possesses. He's been able to sense pure consciousness, which is essentially mental energy, and he instantly knew what it was. Um, as far as time manipulation goes, Surfer can travel through time. He's shown the ability to literally fly fast enough to go backwards or forwards or just transcend time entirely, but he also has the ability to just completely stop time. And he can, like I said before, he can also peel back the layers of time to see what happened in a different timeline or in like a different point of time. With space manipulation, he can create quantum bubbles that warp space and they can instantly send you anywhere in the universe. And that's just pretty impressive because he can literally go anywhere or he can send someone else anywhere. He can obviously open portals to other dimensions and BFR you, and this allows him to travel to anywhere in the universe, to alternate universes, or just out of the entire multiverse into higher dimensional planes. And as far as phasing goes, he can phase through physical attacks, he can phase others through physical attacks, and he can also phase through mental energy and pure consciousness, so he can essentially phase through telepathy. And He can also expand in like another person's electrons until they phase out of physical reality. With telepathy, Surfer has a wide array of telepathic feats. He's calmed down the entire population of a planet, so he can mess with your emotions. He can absorb someone else's thoughts, and he can literally create physical like constructs of those thoughts. He can look through your mind. He can absorb your memories, create false memories, or just manipulate memories in general. He can put you into a hypnotic trance. He can literally project his thoughts across the universe, and he can also break others out of like a telepathic abyss by the other. He did this to a woman, and the other is like this entity, this abstract entity that's on par with Galactus that is pure mental energy, and Surfer's also been able to resist telepathic attacks from this otherworldly entity, which is pure consciousness. And Thor's actually also been able to resist telepathic attacks from the other. And Surfer can, fight equally with this entity and destroy telepathic constructs created by the other, and he's also been able to destroy their entire dimension of consciousness, which is a really impressive telepathic feat, both in like telepathic attack potency as well as his own resistances. Um, he can create illusions and whatnot, and these illusions are powerful enough to work on Galactus. And Surfer has also been able to fight Galactus telepathically, which is really impressive because Galactus can match entities like the Phoenix Force and Odin. And Galactus also has this one feat of telepathy where he's been able to block out the abstract entity Oblivion, who represents the complete erasure, annihilation of Marvel's entire creation. He's like the abstract concept of non existence down to such a fundamental level that he's pretty much above most of the abstracts in Marvel, not all of them, but that's pretty impressive because Galactus can completely shield his mind, and Surfer's been able to still break into his mind. And it's not just telepathy that Surfer has, he also has telekinesis, and of course, he has energy manipulation where he can manipulate any form of energy. He can transmute energy, he can literally turn you into energy, he can turn physical objects into energy, he can project energy from any part of his body, and usually he does attack with energy based attacks. He can absorb energy from other beings as well as other like sources of energy. He can just completely drain you. um and of course he can do this to super powerful entities as well, so it's not like just a little bit of energy uh manipulation. He can absorb it from super powerful entities. He can manipulate gravity, he can manipulate matter, he can convert matter into energy, and he can just completely manipulate your atoms. And Surfer's actually been able to manipulate matter down to the atomic level. He's actually done this on himself when he was completely atomized. He was able to pull his atoms back together, and naturally he can also regenerate, which is really impressive because this means that Surfer has atomic level regeneration. As long as his consciousness is intact, he can also just manually pull himself back together. And he's also been able to rebuild Stormbreaker. He can atomize an opponent by essentially just dispersing their atoms. So if they don't have any control over their atomic structure, that's pretty much like an instant win con because they're just they were once a thing, and then after that they just cease to physically be like one thing. So that's pretty cool. Surfer can use this matter manipulation to change his own size, and theoretically he can also manipulate his own density to just completely turn intangible, as we've talked about before, and this should also be able to let him turn invisible. um and then a bit more of the esoteric abilities that go beyond the physical would be Surfer's ability to manipulate the souls of an opponent, which he can more easily do on the astral plane because the astral plane is more like a connection to minds and souls, and Surfer gets a massive telepathic and spiritual, like, amp where he can definitely just mess with your mind and soul and just completely destroy your soul and erase it from existence, which he can also do physically. He can physically erase you, he can erase your soul, and more interestingly, he can also erase you down to a conceptual level, which he's shown when he erased the concept of his own culture without, directly erasing the people, which shows how much control Surfer really has over the power cosmic. And he's also shown the ability to manipulate fate to essentially break himself and a bunch of other beings out of this fated time loop where all of their fates were just stuck in this infinite loop where they would just essentially live on without like a true purpose, and Surfer was able to weave a new possibility and manipulate all of their fates to break out of that loop. He's also been able to manipulate higher dimensions, which is shown when he just completely removes the Never Queen's heart, which is just completely conceptual and higher dimensional from the Impericon, and he's able to give it to Don Greenwood, and he's able to replace the spot of the Never Queen's heart, which was powering the Impericon. So he was able to take over and make sure that it didn't just instantly explode, so that all the people could escape without dying. And just the fact that he can interact with this higher dimensional object is just absolutely insane. And Surfer also has really impressive regeneration. As I brought up, he can regenerate from just completely scattered atoms, and naturally this process can take a long time, but he can always just pull himself back together. And even when his atoms were crushed, he could just regenerate in like a few seconds, maybe a few minutes max, and when his consciousness and power was dispersed, he was still able to come back together, but that took a few billion years. But to be fair, his own power was dispersed across the entire universe, and from the power cosmic, Surfer was essentially able to create new life on planets that were just completely devoid of that life, which is really impressive because that shows that the power cosmic can create life out of pretty much nothing.
Frankly, it doesn't matter how long it takes him to regenerate, he can time travel.
That is true. That does exist.
And like Hal Jordan.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
and there's also one really weird feat, which is really debatable. I'm actually going to look through the comic right after this because it's important for the G1 blog, but Surfer is able to fight Mephisto equally after Mephisto, absorbed his soul, and then Surfer broke out of that, but his entire physical body was transmuted and just ceased to exist, so Surfer kind of came back from a soul, or supposedly that's what people are arguing. But it's also possible that Surfer just broke Mephisto's spell, and that just allowed Mephisto's spell to work backwards and recreate the body out of nothing. So it was either Mephisto's magic or Surfer's power cosmic that just recreated his body after it ceased to be, which is still pretty impressive because he was able to break Mephisto's spell in the first place, which is not an easy thing to do, because considering Mephisto's an equal threat to Doctor Strange and Zarathos, who are
but Surfer's not
ridiculous.
Surfer's not a magician. How would he break the spell? That's so stupid.
He just beat Mephisto.
That's so dumb.
It is what it is.
I like how you can categorize all of Martian Manhunter's powers, as stupid as they get, into the categories of his weird body, his laser eyes, or his telepathy. When it comes to Surfer, though, anything goes. Just anything goes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Power Cosmic is dumb. It's dumb. It's like the Speed Force. It's dumb.
Hey, at least the Speed Force is cool.
Speaking of the Speed Force, I just remembered
cool
Surfer can also manipulate kinetic energy, so he can kind of steal your speed or just completely nullify your vibrations to seize you into one place.
Yeah, of course he can. Why wouldn't he be able to do that? That just makes so much sense, all these powers. Why not? Why not, Are we sure Silver Surfer's not his author's OC or something? I mean, obviously, but like Little Timmy's OC who's designed to beat everyone else?
Surprisingly, he jobbed a lot
At least
until more
nowadays.
recently.
Nowadays, like in his early days, he kind of sucked, and in most adaptations, he tends to just job all the fucking time. Like in Rise of the Silver Surfer, his one movie appearance fucking sucks. Like he's treated as uber powerful. Separate him from his board, he's done. And Lego Marvel does the same sort of thing, where he just kind of jobs and spends most of the game incapable of doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
He does suck in a lot of adaptations. But in the comics, nowadays, he kind of is just a anything goes character.
Yeah. Surfer's board is really impressive because he can I think he's trapped beings inside of the board
He
before.
can shapeshift his
and-
board. Why does he keep it as a surfboard? He could have like a fucking... He could be the silver hovercrafter instead.
Dude, I was gonna say one of my favorite feats that Surfer did was, I believe it was during the same run of the Never Queen stuff, but he took a moon, used it as a surfboard to just crash it into Galactus's big fat head. It's so freaking cool.
Okay, that's really stupid, but I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's the feats we love to see.
And actually, Surfer has transmuted the board into a sword to fight Null, which...
We're not
Yeah.
getting into stats yet.
No, I was just saying he can transmute his board
Of course
into
he can
whatever
make
he
it
wants, and
into a
he can
sword.
also
Why wouldn't
create
he, you know?
boards out of himself.
So, just looking at, like, what they got laid out, Manhunter's big thing is his telepathy. Surfer has really good telepathy resistance. And, like, you could argue between, like, who's stronger between, like, Vishnu and Oblivion if you really want, but if you would just even it out, Manhunter's not looking so hot. What's he gonna do if Silver Surfer just erases him from existence? What?
Nemesis, we're not supposed to get to the debate yet.
Oh yeah,
Even though there's
sorry.
not really a debate.
I mean, we kind of went through all the powers. The rest is like the other resistances that, if we're being honest, will not matter because they're resistances to things that Martian Manhunter does not have. Right? Like, resistance to like time stuff. That's not really gonna help. Manhunter can't do that. That said, it probably should mention like the fire weakness that everyone loves to bring up with Manhunter. That should get addressed. Because I don't think. We can also bring up the whole thing of like Surfer's supposed weakness if he gets separated from his board that a lot of people also think he has.
Yeah, so for Manhunter,
Is important to get into.
I guess
Surfer
we'll
can't
go with
control
Surfer
the
first because
elements.
Surfer's is a lot more simple with the whole the belief that he's got no powers if he's away from his board.
Well, Surfer's powers come from the power cosmic and not his board. And
Yeah.
the board is something. Surfer can create a surfboard if it's destroyed. Surfer can just make a new one.
Yeah,
He's
literally
done
it's as
this
simple
before.
as that. Like, it's as simple as that weakness he has, he doesn't... That's just not a thing.
And if he loses it, he can literally summon it from anywhere.
Yeah,
It's like-
isn't his quote on his character page on Death Battle Wiki literally "come to me, my board"? Like, if he's away from his board, he just fucking summons it, like
Yeah.
Mjolnir.
Or he makes a new one.
dude,
Well, he makes
weaknesses
it-
like that never work. Yeah, they never work. Like for Green Lantern, even if his ring falls off, you got stuff like Kyle Rayner forging a new ring out of his own willpower.
The fact that
Like,
the ring,
it's ridiculous.
the way that Hal got his fucking ring was it flew to him. Do people really think that if the ring thought he was in danger and it wasn't there, that it wouldn't just fly to him?
Yeah, rings are fast. Like, they just go across the cosmos. Like, especially during Blackest Night, they just went everywhere. So even
Yeah,
if he
that's
loses
true.
one, bro's getting another one in like a couple of light years, which is a couple seconds in DC.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Surfer's weakness, it's literally as simple as it's not real. That's made up for like some adaptations. It's correct in some adaptations of the Surfer, but not the actual Surfer because it makes no sense, right? He is like Akhil said, his power comes from the power cosmic, not from the surfboard. Why would removing the surfboard take away his power? That's stupid. That's like taking
Yeah.
away a planet, and then suddenly that's how you beat Galactus. You just take a planet away from his general vicinity. Not how that works.
Yeah. And then for Manhunter, the fire weakness is also pretty easy to explain. because people fall into the misconception, and no thanks to DC media constantly making Manhunter one of the biggest jobbers on the freaking planet, that he can die by fire, which is not true. So a little bit of DC history. We learn in the JLA, that same JLA 1997 run from Jon Stewart, that long ago, like 20,000 years ago, there was a race of beings called the Burning, which were large fire entities that reproduce asexually and were threats to the universe. And the Guardians of the Universe are people that are trying to make sure that, the universe doesn't get destroyed, and the Burning were a threat. So what they did was they took the Burning and split them into a species of green Martians and white Martians, changing their reproductive cycles and a couple other physiological things, but more importantly, he gave them the instilled fear of fire. And in Martian Manhunter's case, it was also very much tailored to his origin, where his brother, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it.
Malafalak.
Something like that.
No, I'm supposed to be the DC guy. That's my goodness. But yes, what they said, he pretty much unleashed a virus on his planet, and the images of fire and blood and death and his family being lost were seared into his mind, and later came back in some time when he came to Earth. But overall, that's a psychological weakness, is the point I'm trying to get, because there are numerous instances of Manhunter doing fine against fire, like taking heat vision from a Mazo, a fire blast
He
from
has
Manchester
heat
Black,
vision.
a Superman. Yeah, he has heat vision. Taking napalm breath from Atrocitus, being able to literally survive molecular burning while literally saying fire has no effect on me while he was being burned at a molecular level. Like, it is quite literally like, it's the same energy as Superman's stupid magic weakness. It's not really one that is a detriment. He has taken magic attacks before. Like John has taken fire attacks before. He has fought white Martians while on fire.
Yeah.
So, and Surfer can set things on fire, because I've also researched Surfer. I know I'm mainly DC, but there was a time where I had a Surfer profile. It's a tiny bit outdated though. But he can set things on fire, and that's not gonna work on Manhunter. That's all I'm gonna say.
Also,
it's
how would
definitely gonna be in
he
episode,
know?
though.
How would he know to do that? Because like, if we're be,
Akhil
if,
Akhil, did you mention that Surfer can detect the weaknesses of people?
Yeah.
real,
Yep.
are you fucking like? Are you what the fuck? I mean, yeah. How would he know to do that? It's not a weakness that Manhunter has, so he wouldn't know to do it because it's not a thing.
Well, Surfer can also look into your past.
Okay,
so he
well, I'm
could-
okay.
Yeah, okay, but so can Manhunter. He did that to Atrocitus, so that cancels out.
Is that
Yeah,
not
and
telepathy
I think-
based?
Even if Surfer uses
Oh wait,
it,
no,
I
it's
don't-
not telepathy based for Surfer because he's got the cosmic eyeballs.
Yeah.
Fuck
Yeah,
off.
it's just it's just the power cosmic.
Nemesis is losing his mind.
Look, I mean, it's hard for me. I love Martian Manhunter. Every day
Yeah, it's hard for me
I
too.
feel like I like Silver Surfer less the more I learn about him. He goes from really cool concept. I actually have come around to really liking his design the more I see art of him. I think it's very simplistic, but in the right circumstances, that simple look actually really works. I think the concept is great. I think the story, like the backstory, is actually... I make fun of it, but... And I think it's got a lot of stupid things in it, but it's a fine backstory. I think it really works. It adds something to Galactus as well. But then you get to learning what he does, and what he does is, I've got a problem. It's a good thing I've always had this power that can just solve it.
Dude, so like you rip off the Band-Aid, it's like that with Manhunter and Surfer. Like, mental resistance wise, Surfer during Infinity War was fighting, I believe, one of the Immortals, or what are they called? The Grandmasters of the Universe, and he was making illusions. Surfer literally tells him, I can project the precise power to negate illusions. Like, what?
So
Like,
yeah,
It's ridiculous.
if we were to get
Yeah,
into
the
the
Stranger.
quote-unquote debate... Wait, the Stranger?
Yeah, he,
No,
From that
he
guy?
broke through the Stranger's
Oh,
illusions.
for fuck's sake. So it's not...
yeah,
not,
and the
not,
Stranger's on
not
the level
just-
of Galactus.
Yeah, not just some weak loser baby. I mean, he is a nobody, but not weak. I know him. I know he's
If you know
fairly
who the stranger
fucking
is,
strong.
leave a like in the comments. Or
Marvel
sorry, leave a
Stranger,
comment
not
that you know
I
the
know a lot.
stranger
I know a
from
lot of
Marvel.
people are thinking of Phantom Stranger. Not that's a DC guy. That's different. And I'm pretty sure Martian Manhunter's not got some crazy telepathy feat of overpowering a full power
Well, he
Phantom Stranger. That would be
well
silly.
he does with this. He does with the Spectre.
Yeah, but you know how the Spectre is. You know how inconsistent the Spectre can be.
Yeah, but could you say the same thing about like a couple of the people mentioned, Galactus, Mephisto
Yeah,
too? Like, there's a lot of jobbing amongst the abstracts. They kind of just
but
get their butts handed to
the
them.
thing I guess is, Akil, what states of Galactus has Surfer managed to overpower mentally? If we assume that Galactus's mental power is determined by how well fed he is.
Well, when Surfer fought, or not Surfer, when Galactus fought Odin, he was actually hungry and looking for planets to eat. I believe that's why he came across Asgard to take, like, a seed that emanated from Yggdrasil that was gonna rebirth a new iteration of the Omniverse. So Surfer was like, oh, it's in Asgard, and then they went to Asgard, which was actually on Earth at the time. And that's why Thor and Odin got really
Mhm.
pissy and decided to fight them, which
Yeah, because in that same scan, which I actually have pulled up, because it's ironic you mentioned it. I was looking at my Surfer stuff. Yeah, Galactus literally says that you could shield these things from my mind and conceal the location of these planets for me. I am impressed.
oh, that was another instance.
Of course, he's done it multiple
That was
times.
Oh,
Why wouldn't
another
he?
oh,
instance.
sorry, I was zoned out.
Yeah,
I must have the scan from during the Black Winter stuff.
yeah, that when Surfer, at that point in time, Galactus was actually quite weakened, but Surfer states that he had knowledge of these 5 planets, I believe, that could have amplified Galactus to a state where he'd be exponentially more powerful than he's ever been. And Surfer's like, I've always known about these planets, but I've always hid them in my mind. And Galactus is like, yeah, I had no clue that you knew about these, and I could never, like, read the location of these planets from your mind. So,
Whoa, is it this scan? I'm sending
This
it back
is
in the group
the
chat.
more I think about it, the stupider this is because all
yeah,
of
that one.
these
Yeah,
powers
so that is during Black Winter, right?
these powers come
No,
from
this is the one that I just described. The other one where he fights Odin is
Oh.
from another arc.
Oh.
I
Where
feel like
Surfer and Thor actually go head to head.
you're talking
and
about
they're
like
quite
the like
weakened.
that really well known scan of like the two like straining against each other, right? Like everyone
Oh,
brings that up.
right. I remember
Everyone
what you mean.
everyone
And Odin
in
just
versus
headbutts
debating
him.
knows
Yep.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
That's
that
great.
one.
That's awesome. I love that. But
I'm glad that I can remember these things after
this
2
is so
years.
stupid.
I feel really proud of myself.
this is so stupid because Noran's power comes from either himself or the power cosmic. Which one of these is able to match Galactus's telepathy? His own natural, organic power, or the fragment of power that comes from Galactus?
I'm pretty sure it's the power cosmic itself, because when Doom absorbed it when he had the funny power cosmic siphon thing, he said he had the power to rival Galactus himself.
For
Which-
fuck's sake.
Which is so like, how do you just give people power to rival like you? Like, aren't you trying to make sure no one rivals you, big fella, big purple?
when
like-
Galactus did that with Tyrant as well.
I swear, when Galactus versus Unicron happens, I'm going to be the one guy arguing for Unicron, but I am going to be giving Galactus a little pat on the head because man, he fucking needs it. This poor bastard. He is this
Ugh.
like omnicidal killer of worlds, but at the same time,
I
everyone
love
just
how, like,
scales
his
to
en-
him.
His entire thing is he eats planets, but it goes to such a far and wide extent that if he eats a planet, he could, by extension, kill the entire Marvel Megaverse or Omniverse. Like, something about that just, like, reeks of, like, why?
There's actually a scan where Galactus pretty
Oh,
much
no.
admits without directly saying it that he loves Surfer despite Surfer going against him, and
Aw.
that he's
How
pretty much
cute.
no, he was pretty much like maybe not in power, but like he respects Surfer pretty much much as he respects himself in a way. I sent the scan.
Is that
Is
Lifebringer?
that Lifebringer?
Yeah, that is Lifebringer.
Yeah,
Oh.
stupid
Oh my
orange.
gosh. Okay, I'm gonna go on a tangent about Lifebringer. That's one of the most pointless, like, power boosts, like, ever. That's borderline power creep. Like, the premise of, like, restoring the planets he ate is cool and all, but, like, I feel like Lifebringer is such a hilarious afterthought with what even normal Galactus can do. Like it's ridiculous. Like
Mhm.
it like if you composite Galactus, like you could leave out Lifebringer and you could still argue he could take on someone like the Spectre, the Phantom Stranger.
I mean,
It's
he's
stupid.
got forms stronger than Lifebringer now, apparently.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What's the
Like it's an
point?
afterthought. It's just not
I
making no sense.
Lifebringer is also one of the best examples of how lame higher dimensional battles in Marvel tend to be. Because he fucking points and he's like, what you're seeing, this is how we battle up here. We battle with metaphors and ideas, and it's just fucking space lasers. It's just space lasers. Just beams of
Yeah,
energy.
that is pretty cool. Actually, the context behind this comic is even dumber, if
Oh,
you guys
no.
want to know.
What is it?
I
Um,
don't
This
know
is-
if I do.
This is technically related to Surfer.
Okay, I don't even. Okay. The comic starts out with Galactus being like. Or, I mean, this was in the middle of a run. I didn't start from the beginning. I just read the issues with Surfer. And, like, I kind of skimmed through it because it was that bad. Galactus is pretty much like, you know how you're my herald? Well, I am the herald of this other entity, not the Black Winter. This is like some other separate entity. So now Galactus is the herald of two entities. I don't ask. I'm just gonna pretend it's non-canon. And he's like, this entity eats entire universes, and it's coming here. And he's like, and then Surfer's like, okay, I guess I can like try to help you stop it, or whatever. And they get some help from a few other heroes on Earth. And Surfer and Galactus physically fight this omniversal entity that's from the Superflow, and they are fighting her, or it takes the form of a female, and Surfer actually does okay. I mean, he survives for a bit, and then Galactus is like, okay, have my Lifebringer powers, and I'm just gonna like throw you like a cannonball, and then he like shoots Surfer, amped by like the Lifebringerness, at this entity. I don't know. It was dumb.
For fuck's
Really,
sake.
really.
So Galactus is not just herald of Franklin Richards. He's now also herald to this other thing as well. So Galactus is more of a herald than fucking Silver Surfer is.
Dude, can Marvel just make an abstract literally named Herald? That'd be the biggest plot twist ever.
Herald.
Dude.
The biggest
Harold
abstract.
Herald.
Herald versus
The
Team
Phoenix
Buster.
Force.
No, Herald versus Team Buster. Like they should make a DC character just called Team Buster, because those are two of like the most coined like comic versus terms like way back in the comic find days.
This is
Mhm.
so stupid. Anyway, I mean, to get back on
Anyway.
topic, if
Yeah,
we're
so-
fair and we
Mhm.
even telepathy out and say that they cancel each other out, what we're left with is Surfer has better everything, and Manhunter might be a more skilled fighter, maybe? I don't know. That might be the only thing you
So
can
as
do.
far as far as skill goes, Manhunter is literally called the best of the Manhunters. He's fought groups of White Martians, Parademons. He's trained the Justice League before. He's sparred with Wonder Woman. But on the flip side, you've got Silver Surfer, who is also not too far behind. He's defeated Beta Ray Bill in fighting before. He fought Hulk on the planet Sakaar. He's a skilled gladiator due to his time on Sakaar. He was able to fight the champion without any power boosts, and yeah, he's also a very skilled fighter. Like, dude just used the power cosmic to just completely humiliate the thing in like physical fights, because Surfer's not really much of a puncher, but like even when he does, he just completely makes short work of people.
Mhm.
But I would still say Manhunter's just more skilled just by virtue of experience, I feel, due to his age. Since part of his origins was he was pretty much launched through time by the Doctor that Nemesis mentioned.
Yeah,
Of course he
Out.
was.
That about that.
What the fuck is it now?
Surfer is like billions of years old.
13.7 billion. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I made an error saying like experience. I think more like combat experience.
I mean, yeah,
Like-
that's probably the
More like that. Because yeah, Surfer, he literally says in one of the scans he's like 13.7 billion years old.
Yeah,
Surfer also very
Manhunter
physically
Manhunter will give you the hands. Surfer will probably just shoot you.
Yeah. So like as far as if we equalize the mental stuff, it goes down to the resistances, and fundamentally they can each other. Surfer's resistances, I think, just hard counter like everything to where you can just like knock down like one attack before. So like let's go through the list. So Surfer was able to resist the mind stealing tongue of the Wraith Queen, which if that counters Manhunter's memory absorption or probing, so that checks off that. He can resist Thanos' mind probe when he had the mind gem, so mind probing is also not going to work. He's immune to Princess Amaria's emotional manipulation, so empathic manipulation is not going to work. As I said before, he can resist illusions, so illusion not going to work. He can resist the mental influence of the Insider, so perception manipulation is not going to work. He escaped the Supreme Intelligence's mental prison, which was so powerful it actually absorbed Surfer's Infinity Gem, and he escaped anyways, so mental landscape is also not going to work. And he can shield his mental influence. Sorry, he could shield Galactus' mental influence on him. So telepathic link or relay or tethering will also not work. And you have many other ways of resisting mental control, like from the Carnage symbiote resisting amplified mind gem Moondragon, who is able to pierce through the mental defenses of Thor. So basically, most of attacks fall through. The only ones I could see potentially working are memory erasure, and this is only potentially memory erasure, his own telepathic defenses. Augmentation could potentially override his resistances due to him being able to do it pretty easily. Because Manhunter, I think, is smart enough to realize if he can't get into it immediately, he can at the very least try to override it, because many characters he has done, he's been able to override them despite their resistances, like Superman, Wally West, etc. But even still, that leaves you with, if he can erase his memories, there's still Surfer's, his astral soul. And once you take it to the astral plane, like if Manhunter actually projects himself, then it's wraps, because Surfer has soul destruction. He took a monster to it and destroyed all of his essence there. He fought Mephisto on the astral realm. So if Manhunter's doing that, he pretty much just seals his own fate and no real way of escaping. So as far as telepathy goes, it is just, there's not a whole lot he can do. Memory erasure feels like the best potential idea, but he's been able to reform his mind as well. I can't recall if he's actually resisted memory erasure himself, but yeah. And sleep manipulation cancels out.
I don't think memory erasure would actually work even as a win con, because Manhunter wouldn't have killed him. Surfer would still be there.
Yeah, and like he can't kill his, well, that's a hard equation to figure out, because if he erases his mind then tries to kill his body, but at the same time
I guess the question
can't
is,
really kill his body?
Can Surfer regenerate his memory? I feel like he probably can.
He's been able to regenerate his essence, so by definition he probably should.
So yeah, memory erasure just kind of delays the inevitable.
Yeah, and then mind control, as I said before, won't work, since Moondragon might try to mind control when I mentioned him breaking the mental defenses. So the hard part really is just that, like, you could mention a whole lot of characters that Manhunters did too, where it's layered resistances, like Atrocitus, Black Lantern, Superboy Prime even, and even the higher ones like the Spectre, Mixie. But the problem is you can do the exact same thing for Surfer with people like Galactus, Mephisto, Amp, Moondragon. So things just cancel out like more and more. And also sleep manipulation will work, because Silver Surfer also put Sue to sleep, Sue being the Invisible Woman. So once you're left with that, you're left with a poor sitting green booger. The most you could really argue is just very iffy outlasting options, like his elasticity can probably maneuver around like basic energy blast, but that's kind of it. His regeneration is not better than Surfer's like at all. Density control won't get him far. They can grow their size. Intangibility probably could get through it, most of his attacks, but how long he can hold the form is like not really known. And even still, there's still like stuff like the astral plane that he can take take Manhunter to. So overall, he's just left with attacks like Heat Vision, won't do much. Super Breath, nothing. Telekinesis, yeah, it's very much a lost cause, which pains me to say because I also love Manhunter. But yeah, going to this fight, it's really hard to argue Manhunter solidly wins so much as like stall. Like, this is pretty much like in the SpongeBob movie when like Pearl says that she's stalling every like 20 minutes so SpongeBob and Patrick can take the crown. Like, that's what this fight feels like. And eventually they're gonna come back with the crown. So overall, Surfer wins. It's a bit of a landslide victory. I wish it wasn't. And we didn't go over stats mainly because stats are also just tipped to Surfer. Like at best, you could argue that Manhunter has the feats to match because there are feats like most Superman scaling should check out due to that one panel of Superman saying if he could count the number of beings in the universe on hand he'd be afraid against. Manhunter's at the top of the list. Superman's got plenty of feats where he like punched out God Brainiac, looked at the cosmos in Atlas's place, destroyed Nebula Man, a literal universe, withstood an explosion from Darkseid War Anti-Monitor, which killed his crime syndicate counterpart Ultraman. Feats like that, you can generally argue he scales to, which is good, but not really enough for someone like Surfer, who has similar feats like sword fighting Null, although Ego had a part to play in helping him with that.
I'm actually going to
Um,
get into that because I recently read that entire arc. Surfer was weakened the entire time. Like, he started dying randomly, and Ego didn't really amplify his power nearly as much as he just stopped Surfer from dying sooner.
yeah, but that's still kind of yeah, because if that implies that Null was gonna take him out sooner if Ego didn't intervene.
Like, no, Surfer was already dying by that point. He actually stated, like, in the panel before he started his fight with Null, Surfer was like, I'm weakened, I'm still dying. I don't know how this is gonna play out. And
Uh,
then he
but
started
yeah,
fighting with Null. And with Superman, you can bring up his really high feats, however you feel about that, like
yeah,
him knocking out the
yeah,
World Forger and
and I
destroying his multiverse, or him
yeah,
scaling to
and
fifth
for
dimensional energy.
Manhunter, I don't think it's entirely unfounded because one feat I did want to bring up that I don't know if you know about this one, Akhil, but in a future relative to DC 1 million, Manhunter was able to strategically prep a plan to take down Darkseid because Darkseid took over Mars and was able to physically match him in strength enough to finally push him into the source wall.
Hmm.
And Emanation Darkseid, I think, is like non-Infinity Gauntlet Thanos, where he should relatively be a bit step above your average Herald due to feats like matching Mordru, fighting Orion, people on that level.
Hmm.
So that's the thing though, because if you argue that at the very least Manhunter could match Surfer in AP with feats like that, it still doesn't really help him if you can't kill him.
Yeah.
And speed as well is like that. Like you have feats like keeping up with Superman, Wally West, and Wonder Woman at speeds faster than thought, explicitly in the panel. And Barry Allen, we all know he's a Flash. He's got ample immeasurable feats to pull from, like breaking through the time barrier when testing his powers, outrunning the Black Racer, the new god of death itself, and even for people like Diana, she can enter the Speed Force under her own power. She can use the speed of Hermes to ascend between different worlds, fly within the skyland between the different lands of the pantheons of gods.
Hmm.
So overall, at best, you could try to make sure stats are comparable, but that's about it.
Yeah,
Surfer
Yeah.
just has
that's
better
the
feats
shoe
to go off
dropping on
of.
the shoe dropping on the other foot. You have to really stretch to put
Quite
Manhunter
literally.
on the same level as Surfer. Surfer has not been power-wise a Herald in nearly a decade. He is fucking ridiculous. His direct
Yeah.
feats blow John's straight out of the water. At least if you look at like just speed as a thing directly,
Yeah.
John's feat, like what's that? There's like that one feat. I don't remember what it was. It was like duo decillion times the speed of light, like a plank instance feat.
Right.
That's
Yep.
nothing. Manhunter Surfer like outraced. I think Akil told me like this like
The
oblivion of
Never
the
Queens.
Omniverse,
Uh,
like fucking straight up
oh,
Barry
yeah.
Allen Wally West level shit as a direct feat. Manhunter needs to scale to match that, which is
Hilariously enough,
annoying.
Surfer ends up, um, like, there's two runs written by Dan Slott, one in 2014, which at the end of the 2014 run is when Surfer ends up outracing the conceptual destruction of the Never Queen, which is the destruction of all probability, including the probability
Mm-hmm.
or like the possibility that he's gonna actually end up escaping, because like the Beyonders were killing all the abstracts, and then the
Yeah.
possibility that Surfer was gonna escape was essentially erased, but he was still able to out
Yeah.
surf
I feel
that.
like
But
fate manipulation in this fight is like a non-factor in the sense that like the way he used it was like undoing a fate, and it's not like in this fight Manhunter's fated to beat Surfer because we already think
yeah,
he wins, so like he can't really use it in this context for it to work.
Yeah, I think if there was like a possibility Surfer could technically warp that, but it's not really something that
Yeah.
he would need to do per se.
Yeah. And yeah. So
And
I okay. I guess I forgot I was gonna try and mention this. I guess the only, and I mean only win con you could argue, this is more for resistances though, is like Martians and Manhunter specifically has complete control over his molecular structure. So at the very least, I think it's within reason to say that it could stop Surfer's transmutation or matter manipulation or biological manipulation abilities, since he's resisted stuff like that before, like going through stasis fields, having his cells frozen. So I think he can resist that at the
I
very
think
least.
I think it's definitely possible, but at the same time Surfer has like complete control over the four fundamental forces of the universe. So he might just be able to like disrupt that control
I
and
mean,
just
yeah, but Manhunter could probably make up for his regeneration, since
I think the
I think the
regeneration would pull him back together.
but yeah, even still, that's another just stalling argument.
Hmm.
Because yeah, I'm really trying here to give John any benefit of the doubt. Because
Yeah.
yeah, we
I
all
think
three of us here, you hear live think Silver Surfer kind of just wins.
I think there's one potential way for, well, I mean, I guess this comes down to durability, but could could Manhunter technically fry all of Surfer's atoms to stop him from regenerating?
This is a good question because Manhunter, we do know that he has some form of adaptation where he can like store other matter that's not his into his body to increase his mass. But frying his atoms, that'd be something his heat vision I think can do.
Yeah, because I know Superman can do that with his heat vision. Like, he can see
Yeah.
down to the subatomic level, but I don't know if Manhunter could do that.
Manhunter can see down to the subatomic level,
Yes.
yeah.
Then he
So
might potentially be able to do that, but at the same time, I think Surfer can
Surfer just
just fight
regenerates from it
as his
anyways.
soul anyways, so
Yeah, which I guess could be cool if they do that in the fight animation. Like he does that, goes to the astral plane. I
yeah.
swear.
But
Someone
then
pointed out in the Death Battle Discord of
that
like,
would literally just be copying what happened in Raven versus Phoenix.
no, I was gonna say like
Yeah.
literally like it's gonna continue the trend of like white freaking lame background. Like Ant-Man versus Adam, apparently had this like the overspace.
Yep.
Then Jean with the white hot room, and in the astral plane you could literally just do that too. Just make it this white background.
Please
Funny
no.
That'd be
thing
so
is,
funny.
the funny thing is Surfer has literally stated that the astral plane is like the source of the power cosmic, so he's more powerful there
Which
than
makes no sense because
anywhere else.
he has like 3 astral plane feats.
This is
Yeah, and when he was in the astral plane, Surfer was like completely
It's
like
ridiculous.
invulnerable, completely like unhittable, completely like invincible, and he was just like, yeah, you can't hurt me here, but I can do whatever I want to you.
Yeah.
And he was also like, even if you like absorb my power, I just have an infinite amount more here. Which,
Yep.
okay.
chances are if they do the fucking white void background again, it'll be like those two fights as well, where the battle just instantly ends too.
Mm-hmm.
I swear this is like I'm just gonna be so like in shock if Manhunter somehow wins the episode. Like
Look,
at least with Phoenix versus Raven, there was some win cons. At least with Ant-Man versus Adam, like stats were a question. With this one, it's like it's just quite literally a hard counter after a hard counter after a hard counter. Like I
Ant-Man versus Adam was like the most debatable of all three, because I know Phoenix versus Raven has its own. I'm gonna set that aside for now.
controversy. I was not here for that, I will say.
Ant-Man versus Adam is just, it was such a pain to get through.
I bet.
And at some point, it was like, okay, Ant-Man is probably gonna win the episode because he had like 50 different like things in his arsenal, whereas Adam didn't really have that. But then it was also like, who can shrink smaller? Who can? Well, I mean, we found out early on that Adam can't grow, while Ant-Man can grow beyond like the entire multiverse, whereas Adam can shrink smaller than the entire multiverse. So it's kind of like, who can do it better?
Right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But one thing I didn't know was that, like, Adam can't resist having his size changed without the belt, which makes sense because the belt is how he gets his powers, but knowing that Hank literally changed his entire biology to be able to resist that is pretty wild. Scientist Supreme, I guess.
Really.
Yeah.
I I think Ant-Man Atom was the end of the streak of underdog wins for Marvel DC. And I don't think Phoenix Raven is going to be the start of a new streak. Especially
Yeah.
because I don't even know if I consider that one an underdog win when the community at
When
least
for a
was,
time
was very
people
back
thought
and
Raven
forth.
would win
The
due
community
to the blog.
like that I was in was very back and forth, while sure, like the general audience was very certain on the Phoenix win, as obviously they would be because Phoenix is just treated as uber powerful. Raven generally is not treated like that, but
Right.
even if you were to count that, I don't think that's the start of a new streak. I don't think Manhunter's winning this. I wouldn't be surprised if Manhunter's the popular vote because of the idea of he's just as strong as
Yeah,
Superman.
but even actually,
don't-
I wouldn't be
I
surprised
don't-
if Surfer's a popular vote because like Surfer, obviously like casuals label Surfer as like is like a cosmic hero, so he should win. Like just those general words and statements like give Surfer the win against like people like Captain Atom or Doctor Manhattan. Even like, oh, Surfer's a cosmic character, so he wins.
Yeah, I could
It's
see
it's very funny.
casual comic fans believing Surfer wins. Casual non-comic fans probably don't. Manhunter's got a reputation outside of comics as being as strong as Superman, which, frankly, he probably isn't. And Surfer's got a reputation outside of comics of kind of being a loser, who just you get him off his board and he dies. Which, if someone doesn't know how strong they are, except they believe Manhunter's Superman level, they're probably going to think Manhunter just kind of lifts him off the board. But in the community,
Yeah, pretty much.
very certain in the community that it's Surfer support.
Yeah.
I don't think this would be an underdog win. I don't think the underdog's coming out here. I would
Yeah.
be genuinely shocked. Like for the first time this season, I would be
I'd die
genuinely
laughing.
shocked.
Like, I'm sorry, Akil, I know this is your favorite fight, but like, just with how like bad Manhunter has it, if he somehow won, I would lose my
I would
mind.
also laugh.
I would lose my mind. Oh my gosh.
I would be genuinely
Yeah.
shocked.
I think I
I've-
would just
I've
be in
gotten-
shock for the entire day.
I'm trying to remember what the
No,
last
you'd be in
episode I
pain,
predicted.
dude. Two of your girls died, and now you're like, Silver Boy's
Bro.
gonna die. I don't know, man. I don't know if you can take 3 strikes.
Bang asked me yesterday if I would trade Surfer's win for like a Gene win, and I was like, yes, I would. It would be
Based.
painful, but yes, I would.
Yeah,
very
we did
much
like
do
Would
that.
You Rather's last night, and
Yeah.
we were talking about like verse stuff. And yeah, I pulled up a freaking list here of like chill Herald fights, and we were talking about them last night about who we think would win. Yeah, because
Yeah, these are fun. We didn't get through all.
yeah,
of
this is
them.
the part of the video where we talk about off-topic stuff.
Yeah, I just checked. The last death battle that I predicted wrong was Trunks versus Silver. So it's been a while
All right,
since
so
I've...
Nemesis, what you have to do is you have to say Manhunter wins at the very last like nanosecond before the fight is released,
That
and
reminds...
then you can say that you knew it all the time.
That does remind people think I got Darth Vader versus Obito wrong. I purposefully cut off before I said who I think wins or was gonna win. If you talked to me at any point during that waiting period, you would have known that my thought process was if I'm the opinion that Darth Vader should win, but I believe that Obito will win. That was my opinion. It remained that way throughout the entirety of that waiting period, and I was correct. Obito did win, regardless of how I feel, because it was not a prediction of who I think should win. It was who I think will win. I've not gotten one. My streak currently is... Obviously, I was correct about SpongeBob. I was correct about Asta. I was correct about Jason, about Sauron, about Vegito, and then the entirety of Season 10, I've gotten 100% correct. Just all of them correct.
Nice.
I wouldn't be surprised
was-
if Bill Cord is the one that ends that.
I think that's gonna kill my streak. I really hope it doesn't.
No,
'cause
I
this-
feel like Discord's. I feel like Discord just. It's not like this fight where he just feels like he's got more solid stuff.
I think
Well,
this
actually, no, that's a
could
terrible
win, but
example.
I've also seen Bill argued more in the specific communities, so it's kind of like
Well, that's
I-
mainly
I-
because I feel like all the Bill arguments I see are like arguing that he is higher dimensional, like the 11 dimensional stuff,
Yeah.
which I have no
It is
opinion on,
weird.
but like that's because I've never seen someone say Bill wins because of this ability or this ability, because like it sounds like Discord just has like such better abilities, like he
Yeah.
literally feeds on chaos, I believe, which is what Bill is
Yeah,
empowered by.
that's a lot.
The
So
thing
he can
is,
literally just eat
Bill is explicitly lower dimensional. He's explicitly two-dimensional.
The
He
versus
gets-
community is gonna come for
he-
Nemesis.
I'm just saying. Now you if you're in the community, you can feel free to correct me through ancillary materials that I've not read.
Please do not send men to Nemesis's door. That would be very rude.
In the show itself, Bill is
If anything, send men
explicitly
to my door.
from the second dimension, and he explicitly comes into the third dimension. He fucking doesn't he? I think he explicitly brings up that he gained an extra dimension as well, and like he turns himself into a pyramid in that for that line.
Dude, it's gonna be
I'm
it's gonna
so
be hell on
confused.
earth if Bill or Discord loses. Like,
Yeah, I
see,
mean, if
Akhil,
Bill
at least
wins,
we
I'm not
comic fans,
complaining.
like, at least it only gets salty when it's the abstracts. At least our Herald, at least very nonchalant.
I would be
chillax.
totally okay. I've not watched any My Little Pony yet. I would totally be ecstatic for a Bill Cipher win. I don't see
Oh
it.
no, I know. Yeah,
I'm not
I was
in the
just
debate,
making.
I want to at least
I
watch
would
Yeah,
be
no.
Discord's
okay
episodes
with
before
Bill
I go to
winning, but like both of those like communities have gotten on my nerves lately. That I don't know.
I do appreciate Discord's House of M reference, so I don't know. It's hard not to root
Discord-
for him.
Discord
Sure.
references Bill in the card game, I think. Like, he brings
Yeah.
up, oh, yes, I think they would love to fight an interdimensional triangle with a top hat. Which, like, come on. A reality warp against a dimensional triangle with a top hat? Come on, they knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing. I love how
I
it,
think-
it implies that Discord made Bill as well, which, to be honest, I'd fucking believe that.
If Deathball ran with that,
They won't.
I would
I'd be
love that.
weak.
That would be so
That'd be-
stupid if they went. Oh,
that'd be
Discord
so
wins
funny.
because he implied that he made a thing that in description sounds very similar to Bill Cipher.
People are gonna be so salty if that ends up.
People are
being the
gonna be
case.
salty for that episode. Just
Either way, yeah. That's like the
Mhm.
salty. Yeah, no, that's. I wouldn't be surprised if that's like the next Ben 10 versus Green Lantern.
I don't think this fight could reach that. I think a fight that actually, I don't know if a fight that could reach that, because like with Ben versus Hal, like Ben was expected to win by like the entire casual audience except for like the G1 blog and a small handful of people in Discord, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
So like you need to find a fight like that where like everyone else in the universe thinks it's a bygone conclusion, but the G1's like actually. So like I don't even know if I like that because Joker versus Giorno, like it's back and forth. So like that will be salty, but not to the extent of Ben versus Hal.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you could find a fight like
With
that.
Ben versus Hell, I didn't even believe that heralds of either franchise were like universal.
Yeah, those were the days when they were that
Too
yeah,
much.
because those were the days when like it was becoming less taboo to
Yeah.
like believe it. Because the
Yeah.
G1 blog did have like Herald feats mentioned, which is
Uh-huh.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought Ben was gonna win too, but then like when you looked into it, it's like, oh, he
Yeah,
doesn't.
like
Well,
sure.
I know there's
you can-
arguments nowadays for X being a bit higher than Uni Plus.
I do think Alien X is higher than Uni Plus, but I think Hal just has way more
And-
experience dealing with threats like
Yeah,
X.
like
that it wouldn't
like
really
yeah,
matter.
like Captain Atom, who like would literally fart on Alien X and kill him. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to agree there.
And then, like,
and then
Parallax, too.
yeah, and then Nemesis. You did say that like this would be the last. I think Raven vs Phoenix would be the last like underdog win. So like, that being said, would you say that, like the next like biggest Marvel vs DC fights, like is there really an underdog in them? Like Mysterio versus
yes.
Scarecrow, for instance. Let's start with that one. Scarecrow versus Mysterio.
Scarecrow vs.
Is there an underdog?
Mysterio, there is not really an underdog. I think that
That's
there's a lot of
50-50,
supporters on
even
both
across
sides.
the casual community.
The only way it could
Yeah.
count as an underdog win is if they say that Mysterio wins via physical strength, which would
Oh.
be really
Hmm.
stupid.
Well, in this case, could be applied because like most of the general audience would probably think that Scarecrow is like physically a weakling when like
But they
Batman
also,
literally admitted he had to go all out
they'd also
on
think
him.
that Mysterio is a complete weakling too. Like neither of
Yeah.
them are
Yeah,
necessarily
I mean-
total weaklings, but then physical strength
Yeah.
should not be a factor.
I've only seen like like power scaling community people ever even imply that Mysterio is like Mysterio scales to Spider-Man. I haven't seen a single casual person
Yeah,
ever.
Yeah, but that's why I
because
think like
Mysterio is
he could have.
just a guy, essentially,
He's
Yeah.
just a guy.
with a
There's-
funny
Well,
hat.
He has
kinda.
no powers.
Well, the suit. He did say to Daredevil that the suit augments his strength like 10 times.
The
So
suit does,
kinda.
but he's
Yeah.
still like a
But
normal.
like, I think per nature of it being a Batman versus Spider-Man fight, I feel like people are still inclined to lead Mysterio. That's why I kind of think Scarecrow is the underdog still, because
He might be,
like-
but I think that it's you have to really stretch. Like, there's a difference between that and
guess.
say the other examples where almost everyone thought Wanda would win, almost everyone thought Black Adam would win, almost everyone thought Phoenix would win. And even Phoenix Raven, I think, is teetering the line a bit because the community was very split.
yeah,
My comments very much are on the side of a Phoenix win, though, because a lot of them were just casuals who believed that Raven was like
Yeah.
what, like a planet level character, which is hilarious because like her fucking second comic appearance ever, she's like, I could blow up the universe, frankly. But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. And then
those cases
Mogo
are
versus
hilarious
Ego.
enough.
What about
Reminds
Mogo
me-
versus Ego? I don't think there's an underdog there.
I think
No.
the
of
underdog
them are
would
that
be
popular.
Mogo because in the casual audience, Mogo doesn't have much of a like
And then you have Ego with the
an
MCU.
ego like believed to be a celestial, and also he has like a very popular reputation as the planet that nearly ate Galactus. So
Yeah.
Mogo's the underdog, and he also loses. So
Sadly, well, I think it's a bit
I
debatable.
think you can
the more I think
debate
about
it to an extent because Mogo is like one of the strongest lanterns. End of sentence.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
think mainly it's just I think it lies in like how the stats are because there's definitely a lot of Galactus scaling you could get. But I think equally with Mogo you have like the Lantern Ganthet, Voltham, who gets like you could somehow get through with Parallax scaling since Voltham fought Parallax Sinestro. So that's why I think it's at the very least debatable, but I can see why Ego would win because disregard that he resists all of Mogo's mind hacks essentially. He too is a psionic being.
I think Catwoman is probably the underdog against her versus Black Cat. Like, while Catwoman is more popular, I do see Black Cat having this reputation of she actually has powers,
hmm
Yeah.
so she wins. And
There's
Catwoman
also-
probably loses that anyway. So like,
Yeah.
they're not wrong.
There's also Moon Knight versus Azrael, which
I
in the community is
Mm.
very 50-50.
But in the casual, I'd say Azrael would be the underdog due to he's just not as known as Moon Knight. Since
Yeah.
Moon Knight has now gotten a boost due to his MCU show.
hmm
So I think Azrael's the underdog.
More people lean
Yeah.
Azrael in the community though, but the arguments are just so weird on that.
Yeah,
to me.
I think
It's-
I've seen very few solid arguments on either side beyond.
No.
Actually, no. I've just
Yeah.
not seen good
I'm
arguments.
gonna rant for a bit of time, just a bit. Oh my god.
Okay.
Moon Knight versus Azrael.
It was a shitstorm not long ago, wasn't it?
There's
It's like become the Britney Spears of like Marvel vs. DC debates.
it can get so toxic in the community. Like
But,
I have literally left servers because it has gotten on my nerves that much. And it's not even that big of a deal. The people that passionately argue on either side are very nice people. I know I have friends on both sides, and they're both really like good sides. Filled with good
Personally,
people, but
I
the
think
fight
Booster Gold
just-
wins.
I mean,
yeah,
unironically,
I-
Booster
I
Gold
would
does
literally
wipe
not
both of
mind
them.
if Booster Gold just comes and just shield crushes
Booster
both
Gold
of
sweep.
them. That would be great.
But yeah, it
no,
sounds like
there
it's
is
gone like
there is an irony to how much toxicity there is over Azrael Moon Knight because so many people still today are not aware that there's more than one Azrael, and that half
yeah,
the
there's
time
Michael Lane and Jean Paul Valley.
they always use Michael as like the image, but they're always talking about Jean.
Oh my
like-
gosh, that pisses me off. Poor Michael.
Jean Paul.
I wish Michael had a fight of his own, because you usually use Jean against Moon Knight.
Yeah, and then Michael, who cares? Even though he's the one that got popular because of the Arkham games.
Yeah,
Jean
because
was
he had
the
like the more
stronger
white appearance.
Everyone
So
sees
that's-
Azrael
yeah.
versus Moon Knight as the White Knight versus the White Knight. No, you're talking about Jean. He's red.
Wait, because the one in Arkham was Michael.
Yeah. And I
So
mean,
like,
he can be
has
red
Gene had
sometimes, but
any
usually he's
like
white.
animated appearances? I actually
Oh yeah,
don't think I've ever seen him
I'm pretty
in
sure he
one.
does.
He might.
Like
It-
I know he's in Scribblenauts. that
Okay, if that is his animated
He
appearances
might be in Injustice 3.
as Injustice 3.
maybe.
Are we
I
ever
mean,
gonna get info on that? Good grief.
I hope.
But like, if Scribblenauts is like his freaking best animated appearance he can go off of, then he is 110% the underdog against Moon Knight. Because that is just so sad that he's just
yeah.
not been used. But then again,
Frankly, I'm pretty sure with Gene.
Batman just like Bat
Yeah.
Family has like this poor tragedy of like never being used because like it's taken them this long to actually get the Bat Family on the big screen. Like we're only just gonna get one due to the new James Gunn like Batman Brave and the Bold movie, which should include some Robins, I think, or at least just one. But like we've just never freaking had one since, ironically, since Adam West, where there was a
No,
Robin.
there was Robin in the original film quadrilogy.
Okay.
We had Robin there. It
But,
was
like-
in, there's literally a film called Batman and Robin. That one was shit
Yeah.
though. So,
Yeah. So
but,
it's a bit of a tragedy.
I don't know if there was a Robin equivalent in Gotham. I've not watched too much Gotham. Honestly, with Gene, I'm pretty sure, off the top of my head, his only appearance other than Scribblenauts and comics is in Lego games. I know he's
Ace.
in Lego Batman 3. I know for a fact he's in Lego Batman 3. I don't think he's in Supervillains. He
he
might be
is.
in another one.
Would you say there's an underdog to Deadshot versus Bullseye?
Oh, Deadshot is
I think-
definitely the underdog there. Like
Really? I think
I mean,
it's kind of split.
it is
No,
gone.
I think
Originally,
in the general
it was
community,
very much
Deadshot
Bullseye.
is the underdog. I think in the versus community, Bullseye is the underdog.
Yeah, like it's a case like that.
Really?
Because
Huh.
in the Versus community, I've seen. I mean, originally in the Versus community, Deadshot was the underdog as well. It was only relatively recently that the debate kind of went around to actually, Deadshot's got a chance, and then it went around to actually
Yeah.
Bullseye is struggling here, so that one's highly
Yeah, I think
debatable.
like 80 to 90% of the community, I think at least the death battle community leans Deadshot nowadays. I think I've seen like very few people on
Dang, that's
this.
weird. 'Cause, yeah, it's
Underdog,
definitely
underdog
debatable,
really
'cause,
depends
like,
on what you're looking at from that angle.
People have
Yeah.
straight up said that Deadshot versus Bullseye is like clear cut or a stomp, and I'm just like, you might want to
No.
rethink
No,
that statement.
that's just not
no.
true.
Yeah.
What about no? I'm just looking at the list here. Nova versus John Stewart.
hmm
Is there an underdog in that one? I feel like because John's had a decent enough presence. He was in Justice League Unlimited
Yeah.
as the Lynch of
People
choice.
don't know Nova that well, especially
think-
not Richard
I think
Rider.
Nova's had a couple of animated appearances, or
be
at least
honest,
and
I
in
think-
games too.
I don't know about the Verse community. In the casual sphere, it's probably Nova, because Jon Stewart has that one very direct thing of, like, that reputation of he made a solar system. Nova ain't got anything that has that reputation to it. But in the Versus sphere, I don't know if there is an underdog there.
I think Nova's the underdog in the versus sphere because most people, like, due to like just people thinking that Hal beats him, people by extension think that John beats Nova as well. Because like I've never seen someone actually argue Nova beats John. Like I've always seen like, yeah, I think John
Really?
wins.
Huh.
Like,
I mean,
there's
I
not
guess
really
that
much
makes
debates
sense.
around it.
But then the thing is that Hal's a little stronger than John, I want to say.
Yeah, that's the thing about John is like that's the thing about the Earth Lanterns is like Kyle's the creative one, Guy's the reckless one, Hal's kind of the stone cold one, John's like the complex one. Like what sets him apart is like he has complex looking constructs due to like his background as an architecture.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't really have any like standout hacks. I just really think that like per nature of like lanterns, the feats he has are just enough for me to.
And
beat
then, you know,
Nova,
by
just like Hal.
extension, Jessica is the traumatized one, Alan is the weird one, and Simon is the other one. I don't know what Simon's
Poor
place
Simon.
in all things.
No one ever talks about.
No one
Simon
ever
Bass.
talks about Simon Baz.
Yeah, I was
Um,
gonna say like
there was a time
I'm
when
back
no
to
one
square
talked-
one like the lantern matchup list. I can't find one for Simon because like Robbie
No one-
Reyes has just such better fights than
No
Simon.
one talks about Simon. Because, like, there was a time where Jessica was in that too, but, like, Jessica has gotten some pushes lately, so she's thankfully out
Yeah.
of that,
But like with
the other
Jessica,
one sphere.
she was a unique one because like you know it talked about because her character very much addresses like the struggles of anxiety and like trauma. So like people appreciate her for that. So I feel like she's talked about in that
Well, yeah,
regard.
I mean,
We
because
appreciate what they did with this
Jessica
character.
got like some very heavy pushes as of late, and even a few years back that have put her in the spotlight. People love Jessica. Simon and I guess Alan are the other ones, but at least with Alan, he is barely a Green Lantern by the modern definition, so that's excusable.
Yeah.
Alan is weird. He's also the only one where the name Green Lantern actually makes sense. Like, I know why they call him that. The other Green Lantern is just, why is their power source a lantern? I don't...
Yeah.
That's at least with Alan Scott, like,
Mm.
the emerald flame, like the flame of a lantern, Green Lantern, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I got a Lego Alan Scott, by the way. He's really cool.
Base.
Ooh.
Supergirl versus
I got a Lego
She-Hulk.
Booster Gold, too.
Is there an underdog there?
She-Hulk, absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. I think
I
She-Hulk's
personally
underdog.
think She-Hulk just fucking wins because she can crumple up the page of a comic and throw it in the bin and light it on fire and like. And it's not even like just an old thing.
That
She's done it.
recently, though,
She's done it recently. They have not
She has?
completely forgotten. Like I'm pretty sure I saw people bring up, oh yeah, they brought this back, rip Supergirl, and everyone's like, no, Supergirl still wins because She-Hulk is just weak. Which is like,
Well, I also think
no.
Supergirl is just as solidly faster.
I think Supergirl is probably stronger and faster. I think people overblow by how much. I think they act too much like She-Hulk just gets fucking pasted the second Supergirl looks at her. She-Hulk is still strong. She
I mean,
fucked the
that's,
Juggernaut. That's pretty impressive.
I don't know about pacing, but like I've always felt like it's just strong enough to a point where like I think it can like maybe not to the extent of Sir versus like John, but like I remember feeling like the best feats I've seen argued for She-Hulk was like a very struggled fight against a mortal Hulk, and that's kind of it.
Oh, she's definitely
Obviously,
way weaker
there's,
than
like-
Hulk.
Yeah, obviously there's like some Hulk scaling involved, but like same thing with Supergirl with Superman's game. But I just feel like Supergirl has like more and like more experience and better feats. But that's just me.
I just think the
But yeah,
meta,
there
the
is
meta
the-
stuff is the big thing.
It's freaking fourth wall breaking. That's such a weird like.
power for
Yeah.
She-Hulk of all
For
characters. to
She, I
have.
mean,
But yeah, she's definitely the underdog.
I guess it's hard to say for She-Hulk of all characters when it did kind of originate with her. It's more just that they completely forgot about it for the longest time. They just stopped doing it when that was like her thing, and then they gave that to Deadpool, and then they gave it even more to Gwenpool. Like,
Gwenpool
Yeah.
is so busted. Like, just the power she has, the things
Really.
that she can do.
But yeah, I
She's
think
like
she's.
street level Silver Surfer, if you think about it, with plot
Yeah.
manipulation.
at least with Gwenpool though, like that's
Yeah.
kind of the joke. There is like a
Yeah.
joke to it, like like it's a gag.
Yeah.
If Silver Surfer
yeah,
was
she-
either a gag character or so serious that it wraps back around into being funny, I wouldn't have a problem, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think because the general public, casual audience probably thinks Superman beats Hulk, so by extension, they're gonna think that Kara beat. So
Oh,
I can see that.
100%.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, She-Hulk's definitely the
It's
underdog
funny because
here.
like Superman Hulk is actually debatable, and Supergirl She-Hulk is kind of debatable, but definitely not as debatable. You definitely struggle a bit more.
Superman vs Hulk is just hard for me because like the cap on Hulk and by extension Superman is like so high. Because like
You could probably come around to argue that neither of them can actually kill the other, and just it would be a
it's
stalemate.
a tie.
Because like they
I'd buy
both
it.
have some
'Cause, like,
some ridiculous I don't
Because
want to die
Superman,
energy.
per nature of his character, like he just has so much resistance. It's crazy. Like every
Hulk
resistance
doesn't
you
even
can
have
think
the
of.
hacks to like work on.
Yeah,
Superman.
but like with the physical strength too, it's like they both just have like so much high feats to pull. That it's
infinite
so
strength on both
difficult.
sides.
Yeah.
To be honest, I do think, for my personal opinion, I think the only place where Hulk genuinely, really is comparable would be physical strength. I think almost everywhere else I would cite Superman, and that's why Superman
Yeah.
Thor is more debatable. Because
Because
Thor's
yeah.
just stronger than
Like,
just better than
direct
Hulk.
regeneration.
yeah.
Hulk is probably better.
Mm,
I think
um.
with other big Marvel DCs, there is no underdog for Dormammu Trigon, or probably no
Yeah,
underdog.
that's true.
Probably no underdog for Man Thing Swamp Thing. I think the only people who actually know
Actually,
the only people
I think
who know
Man Thing's the
anything-
underdog in that one.
I think the only people who know anything about Man Thing and Swamp Thing probably know that they're both really ridiculous. And anyone who thinks that one just absolutely wipes the other probably is someone who doesn't know anything about one of them.
Yeah, but that's one thing. I feel like there's too many people like that. I think Man Thing has the Raven problem where like he's not portrayed as like that powerful. He's just like the creepy, ominous like Florida man, I guess in this case, where he's just like he'll make you scared with his fear bird, but that's it. No one really knows he has like this weird Nexus scaling chain or something. So I think he's the underdog, both in versus and in casual. Because in casual, Swamp Thing got good enough exposure in Injustice 2 for people to probably
hold
side with
on.
him.
Here's the thing. In Injustice 2, Swamp Thing's a fucking loser. He loses to Harley Quinn in a direct fight. In
I'm sorry,
Injustice
but
2.
no L will be bigger than Dr. Fate getting freaking speared by Brainiac's hentai tentacles and then just dying.
I would consider that less of an L
Fate
because
moves to like Canary right before that.
That's right. Yeah, no.
No, that happened
yeah,
way
I think-
before. He lost to Canary, but at least they have the
Or
excuse.
Green Arrow,
They have the
depending on who you
excuse
picked.
of Kent was actually fighting against Nabu during that. So all that
I guess.
the husband wife actually did was just distract Nabu enough for Kent to win against him. The real L, like the thing is, I don't know, like because Dr. Fate dies to Brainiac, but that's after the helmet gets destroyed. It's not like Swamp Thing, where Swamp Thing at full power, with no internal conflict from Alan trying to fight against. I don't actually know if it's that Swamp Thing. I don't know who we actually in control, but the host is not fighting against the Green, full strength, not holding back, loses to Harley Quinn. Next time we see him, he's also lost to Brainiac and is under Brainiac's control.
Right.
That's probably a bigger
Speaking of
L than
Brainiac-
anything with Dr. Fate.
Yeah. Speaking of Brainiac, I think Ultron versus Brainiac might actually happen.
Boo.
One day.
Really?
Boo.
Dude, that's like...
Probably.
Dude, Brainiac versus
I
Ultron
wanna
feels
say,
like...
in the casual community, Ultron is absolutely the underdog there. Brainiac
really?
Brainiac has the reputation of this guy can fight Superman. What's Ultron gonna do? Ultron fucking got hammered around. Like, Ultron took some heavy
Yeah.
damage from Iron Man in the MCU. That's his reputation.
Well, I had it as like casual Brainiac's underdog because Ultron has more MCU exposure, but in the verse community, Ultron's underdog because I see people throw it around so much like Godhead Brainiac is stronger than Godhead Darkseid like all the time.
I
I
do
think
anything to stop Brainiac Ultron. That
yeah, they've got such like Brainiac. I mean, sorry, Ultron probably had his best fight.
yeah, Sigmund was
Probably.
Ultron's best. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Ultron
Hmm.
versus Brainiac would definitely get more cosmic.
I think
But-
I think as far as like debate, it's 50-50.
It would get more
amongst
cosmic,
people.
but here's
Yeah,
the thing.
probably.
As someone who does quite like Brainiac and even Ultron to an extent, I don't like them for the cosmic shit. I don't give a shit about like true form Brainiac or All Father Ultron. I like Brainiac as a guy on a
using
ship
All-Father
who's
Ultron is such
smart
a
and got all
ridiculous
this
thing.
tech. I like Ultron as this just here's an unstoppable force. Try to kill him. You killed him. Too bad that was just a host body. Good luck trying to find the real Ultron somewhere. That's what makes them cool to me is the technological side of it, not the cosmic magic bullshit beyond all dimensions, superpower scaling to the fucking cosmic infinite dimensional nonsense rubbish. I don't give a shit about that. That's boring and lame. That is something that is cool when it's like if they did an Odin episode, he's a god above gods. He should be like that's where he should be. He should be getting a cosmic fight. They're probably not going to ever use Odin, but if they do, he should be getting a cosmic fight because he's fucking
So I think
Odin.
Odin should fight Highfather.
Oh, that would be cool.
Like,
Odin
I
is
don't
Highfire's
like
fun.
Odin versus Arceus. Like I'm sorry, but like that's like a doo-doo fart matchup if I've ever seen.
To be honest,
Like,
I'm not huge on
Eurus
any
versus
of.
Odin has a ton of connections, but it's like way too stompy by
I
today's standards.
I'm not really big on any of Odin's matchups. Highfather's probably the least bad one because like Highfather's neat. He's neat.
yeah, but I think like yeah, but if you're to do like I think if you were to do a new God versus Asgardian fight, you'd do that one.
I think we should maybe like get Odin versus Highfather out there. I feel like that could happen one day.
I will. All right, bet
If
I'll
we
do
get
it.
out there enough.
At the same time, like I would rather if they used Odin, they just used mythological Odin and put him against Zeus.
Oh,
Like-
wait.
Yeah.
Okay, here's an interesting one. I'm not sure about that for casual or versus community. Would there be an underdog for Reed versus Plastic Man?
No, I don't think so.
Nah. Probably not.
Is it really that 50-50?
I think the only way there's an underdog is if people a large group comes to unanimously agree that the ultimate nullifier is standard equipment. If that becomes the case, Plastic Man is both the underdog and was never even
he
in the
died.
conversation. There is literally no way he's going to ever win if it comes around to people agreeing that the ultimate nullifier Reed used 2 or 3 times is fully standard equipment. Cut and dry, he wins all his matchups at the same time with
Reed,
one shot.
is they consider, like, most people consider Reed to be like the most boring out of the Fantastic Four, which I don't really have an opinion on.
I don't think any of them are boring.
Yeah,
Like
no,
as
I
far
don't
as
think they're
power set
boring.
goes, I mean, Thing is like a basic brawler, but like it makes up for his personality, like because he's
I mean,
awesome.
Thing's
cool. My
lovable
favorite
because
suit.
Thing is like of the among all the heroes, Thing is one of the most just he's a normal guy who just happens to have powers out of all of them.
Yeah.
Like he seems like the kind of guy you could meet on the street if he just happened to not be made of rocks.
Speaking
Yeah.
of promoting matchups, Nemesis, do you think there's an underdog in like our matchup, Godspeed versus Danny Ketch? I feel like
No,
they're
no.
both like
In
too
the
obscure
casual
for
sphere,
really-
in the casual sphere, Godspeed's almost certainly the underdog for 2 reasons. One, a lot of casuals don't consider the Flash as too strong and consider Ghost Rider's busted, as they should. And
That's
2,
correct.
Godspeed's reputation is he sucks in the CW. He just sucks.
And even in the
balls.
comics, people hate him in the comics because they feel like he's just like a repeat in motivations to like
Yeah,
Hunter Zolomon.
They took a bit too long to give Godspeed his own identity, I think. That's what
Yeah.
shot him in the foot. In the CW, Godspeed's reputation is he lost to Nora Allen in his first appearance, and then he's the guy who made the Cum lightning swords, and then lost anyway. And, like, he's treated as super strong, but he's really not that cool in the CW.
Yeah.
In the
And then even in the
Versus-sphere, I wouldn't be...
comics-
In the Versus-sphere, I wouldn't be surprised if Danny's the underdog, because people think Speed Force beats anything.
I actually don't know if I agree with Flashes being like treated as weak in the general community, because whenever someone like talks about who the most powerful Justice League member is in the casual community, I always hear people say Flash.
Well, that's the casual versus community. I mean, like, the general public, most
Oh.
people overall, Flash is seen as the guy who runs fast. And that makes sense. That is what they focus on. That is how they portray his character. Most people
Right.
who know Flash probably know him from the cartoons and the games and that one show about him. He's not really known for much more than just being fast in those. Even a lot of his hacks is comic only.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like from that extension, like, most people probably think that a Ghost Rider by default should destroy a Flash if they could catch one. The casual versus community probably think that Godspeed wins because they know who he is, and the, like, hardcore versus community probably think Godspeed wins because Speed Force beats anything, ha ha ha. As opposed to,
Yeah,
it's actually debatable because Ghost Riders are
I think it's debatable.
powerful. Ghost Riders are pretty
Bang and I
strong.
talked about it a bit yesterday. and
Yeah.
we came down to the conclusion that Godspeed is most likely faster if Danny Ketch doesn't
Well,
have like.
I don't think
terrible-
most likely he just like is faster
I
per
think-
nature of him being a speedster.
I think most likely Danny Ketch has some immeasurable scaling, but I think Godspeed will always be faster. That's like the one thing that definitely
Yeah.
Godspeed has that.
It's
Um,
just the win cons we discussed were like
So hacks.
can't that if it's applicable because it's debatable if it is for Ketch because Ketch doesn't have access to Zarathos like Blaze does. So because if he did, then I'd instantly side with Ketch, but he doesn't. The win cons are like that. The penance there should work, or Godspeed wins via dumping Spirit of Vengeance in the Speed Force since he has a Speed Force Scarlet, which he can take Danny to the Speed Force with him. And just the argument of like, is he experienced enough as a speedster to capitalize off of being in the Speed Force itself to wail down on Danny enough to do substantial damage. Because as far as I know, the Spirit of Vengeance has no way to like, travel through dimensions, even at like the higher dimensional level the Speed Force is at, to like go back. So that would count as a win if you could at the very least leave it there or destroy his body and then leave it there, whatever you want to do.
I will say, with the pen and stare, there is also always a chance that Danny could end up just hitting a speed clone. I don't think if he hits just a clone of Godspeed, it would
Yeah,
kill
we
the
did talk
original.
about that too.
And he would have a hard time telling them apart. Like, Godspeed does
Yeah.
get weaker every time he makes a clone, but I
It does
think
put a strain on him.
I think that it wouldn't end up mattering in the long run, because once Danny kills one of them, he gets that power back. Like, he replenishes in power every time one of his clones is like gotten rid of.
Right.
I think Johnny doesn't need Zarathos for any of his soul hacks. Zarathos just gives him a massive power upgrade.
Right.
But the question is, would Ketch even be able
Yeah.
to use any of the Ghost Rider abilities
Yeah.
as well as Johnny
But
does?
which
Like,
can be
yeah,
an
there's-
impasse
there's a
for
question
both
for
because
both of
if
them.
you
They're both addicts to their power, but like they're not super experienced with their power source.
I think as far as experience, I think Ketch has a little more under his belt just because he's appeared more than Godspeed. Because like he has fought Blaze and
I mean,
he
like
should.
experience with their powers. Like Danny's definitely got
Oh,
more
with their
experience
powers.
with the Ghost Rider powers than Godspeed has with the Speed Force, but they're not
Yeah.
nearly as good as Barry, Wally, Earbud, Johnny Blaze.
Yeah. That's
and
why
so
it's
on.
weird for me. Because like if you argue Ketch can like use the abilities like summoning the other Ghost Riders, the soul hacks, everything like it feels like it would only make sense to argue that Godspeed could like use a speed steal or something else like that, which is like basically the question of can they do that in the first place, which I'm not so sure either can do that at all. I think it'd
Yeah.
be a bit silly to argue that August can use the speed steal.
Yeah.
Although
I think
for this
something that would shoot him in the foot, he's a lot more arrogant than Danny is. Like
right,
Danny
definitely.
has like a serious mode. Like he can be serious. And so can Godspeed, but Godspeed's so full of himself. You're gonna hardly see a comic with him where he's not talking about how fucking good he is. Especially against a Ghost Rider, he's gonna take all the time in the world to be like, you think you're cool? I'm judge, jury, and executioner, you know? I'm the best. And that's gonna give Danny a lot more openings
so
than he
peak.
should have. Like, Danny shouldn't have as many openings as he's gonna get, just due to Godspeed being such an idiot, comparatively.
Yeah. But yeah, Godspeed versus Danny Ketch. Or some people on the right are Death Rider, since that's an alias Danny has. Godspeed versus Death Rider definitely sounds cool as a title. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's a fight that has been making waves, so we're quite happy about it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think that matchup though is gonna need a bit more time to cook before we can really say, is there an underdog?
That's true, yeah.
Unlike fucking
And
Magneto
as far as
versus
I'm aware,
Polaris.
there's no plans for like any Danny media anytime soon.
No, I mean he's got a few appearances in cartoons though, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So, like, he's not a total nobody. He's just like the third most well known Ghost Rider. I don't
Yeah.
count Phantom Rider.
Right.
Actually, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think Phantom Rider almost never shows up anywhere. So, Danny probably still more well known than him. It's
Definitely.
really just Johnny and Robbie that are more well known than Danny.
Hmm.
To my knowledge, at least. I don't think anyone talks about what's the female Ghost Rider. Her name?
Alejandra.
Yeah, no one talks about her other than to be
I
weirdly
want to
horny.
find a match for her as well.
The female
'Cause it'd
spawn.
be cool to compete with Gauntlet.
Put her
Oh
against-
right, there's a female spawn.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember
Huh?
her name.
There is.
There's a female spawn.
Fucking like
What's her name?
I think it's
Isn't it like
it's Jessica. I'm
Jessica?
pretty sure it's Jessica.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, Jessica Priest.
Jessica
Yep,
Priest.
you're right.
Yeah.
Funny enough, there's another spawn as well. His name's Jim Downing. That like, if not for Godspeed, you could really just do like Jim Downing versus Danny Ketch's like Diet Blaze versus Al Simmons.
Yeah.
But that's no fun.
But then why wouldn't like
Godspeed sweep.
yeah, just do Jim Downing against like someone else. Oh, actually, no one cares about Jim Downing.
Isn't there like a Western variant of the fight too? Like the freaking like Phantom Rider, like or Carter Slade versus like like Cowboy Spawn or something? Like I swear there's like a Western variant.
Maybe, but I guess they don't
Wait.
realize that Phantom Rider is not exactly a traditional Ghost Rider in any means.
He's like the Alan Scott of the Ghost Riders.
Yeah, he's literally. I'm pretty sure he's literally just a guy with a gun, isn't he?
He's like a ghost as well.
Yeah, he glows.
Kind of.
People probably
Yeah.
people probably only know Phantom Rider from either the Lego game or from fucking Sam Elliott's version in the Ghost Rider movie, where he is just a Ghost Rider.
Yes. But yeah, we need to give. Because like as far as female speedsters, you got Avery Ho, you got Melina, you got Iris. Yeah, none of them would pair with Alejandro at all. So
No.
that's off the market.
Just do Alejandra versus Jessica. That's funny.
That is pretty funny. Although
I know some
I'd
people
love
also like
check if
to
there's, like,
push.
legit connections.
For some reason, people like to push Redeemer against either Danny Ketch or Vengeance. I don't get it. I don't
For vengeance. Ooh, who could vengeance
And who
fight?
gives a shit about Vengeance? If we're being honest. Like,
Oh wait a minute. Carrie Andrews? Wait, there's another female spawn? I'm looking this up. Alejandra Jones versus Carrie Andrews. Is there another female spawn?
maybe.
Bruh. It's called Ghost Rider versus She Spawn. Oh my gosh. She's called She Spawn?
What the?
That's
fuck?
ridiculous.
That's such a stupid name.
That's
why,
so
why
funny.
Wouldn't, why wouldn't she just? Well, I look up She-Spawn. The first thing that comes up is Jessica Priest. Okay, she's the second.
Wait,
she's the
She-Spawn an
second
actual
She-Spawn.
thing?
She's the second She-Spawn.
Bro, there's two of them?
Yeah.
Dang. What the frick? Alejandra Jones versus Soul Bad Guy from Guilty Gear?
Why?
Pardon? Okay, let's see. It's on the Reddit. Reddit, if you're watching this, no judgment. I just want to read the connections. Motorcycle riding bounty hunters that were both out for vengeance after being transformed into a powerful monstrosity due to a power that was implanted in them. Soul becoming a gear after that man implanted the flame of corruption into him, and Alejandra becoming a ghost rider after being chosen by the Seeker and forcibly bonding to Zarathos. Specialize in quite literally overwhelming. Both take it upon themselves to stop the plans of the people that get on their powers. The Universal Will and Adam, respectively, said individuals are out to stop plotted to effectively. This grammar is hurting my brain. Luckily, the comments deleted, or the users deleted, so it doesn't say who. To effectively rid humanity of their supposedly better society.
Wow.
Yeah, no thanks.
I
pass.
feel like pointing out that it's acting as if Soul Bad Guy's past was like he was like a straight up biker. He's got a motorcycle, but I think Frederick was a scientist. if I'm remembering correctly. What are they on about? So dumb. We've gone off topic from the original off topic.
Pretty much. All in the name of propounding the good word of Godspeed versus Danny Ketch, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I mean, Beyond is definitely the underdog against Lucifer, but that matchup is boring, so I don't care.
I feel like that one's so annoying to me because I've only heard Lucifer wins because he convinces Beyonder to kill himself, which is like, that's it? Like, this is Lucifer, the guy who has the fastest calculable speed feat, probably in fiction, I believe.
Second,
And, like-
Invisible Dragons is still faster.
Oh, but still, like, he has all this stuff, all this, like, lore, all this, like, complex stuff, and that's how he wins.
I think he wins because he's just stronger. End of story.
I'm pretty sure
I-
Death Battle ends up doing it. I'm pretty sure Beyonder is gonna win because of the cosmology equalization and whatnot. But
Hey, man,
That's-
as long as they use the render of Beyonder with an afro, then I'll be okay with that.
I don't think Beyonder should win. That would be so stupid.
I think at the very least he should have an afro in the animation. That's all I ask.
If Lucifer
don't
versus
think
Beyonder
Phoenix-
happened, I would be unhappy, and if Beyonder won, I would be even more unhappy.
Dude, it just feed the flame of like Marvel vs. DC fatigue, and now you're taking it to a step of like nothing just matters at that point as far as power level goes because they're literally just abstract.
I mean, we've already reached the point where 2 seasons in a row we've had 4 characters, between the two that are they're placed at omniversal. We're not going to get higher than that. I mean,
I hope
the
not.
thing is, this season, by Death Battle's own logic, when the Dragonborn showed up, he wasn't even the strongest character in the season. Because the episode
Oh yeah, like
prior,
some people
they had
argue
already put
Dragonborn like super
Ant-Man
high.
in the fucking overspace, and they fucking busted out the overspace as this like higher dimensional conceptual thing beyond the whole multiverse. And it's like, Dragonborn was not even the strongest when he first showed up in the season.
Yeah.
Like, that's so absurd to me. And even worse, after Dracula's appearance in season 6, only 2 characters have been placed at baseline Universal. Everyone else has been way stronger or way weaker. And those characters have been Apocalypse and Chosen Undead. And even with Apocalypse, they imply he's stronger. They don't actually give any evidence or say anything to suggest that. But like, Apocalypse, Universal, he fought the Universe Busters. Chosen Undead maintains like a universe with like due to the First Flame. Everyone else, minimum has been 8 times Universal. Minimum. And that minimum is Galaxia, Sailor Galaxia. Everyone else has been higher. The lowest, from season 6 onward, the lowest Marvel DC characters have been, for DC, the lowest has been Green Lantern at 10 times Universal. Not counting ones who were put at below Universal. And the lowest for Marvel were Ghost Rider and Apocalypse, who had baseline Universal. And everyone else has been way above baseline. Like, Thor was millions of times Universal without Warrior's Madness. And then fucking Phoenix, Raven, Scarlet Witch, Zatanna have been omniversal. Wally West was like, he ran so fast, he was destroying the multiverse, which is infinitely
Yeah,
infinite
they
beyond
put
the
him at like
infinite Archie.
multi-plus because
And,
they
like,
use the Flash War feat.
And like, sure, these are all genuinely where they go, but very few of them is actually from their own direct feats. I think the only one which was a direct feat was Scarlet Witch's No More Mutants. Zatanna's was scaling to Pralaya.
Kinda.
Well, I mean, out of the 4 omniversal characters, Scarlet Witch was the only one where it was a direct feat.
Right.
Zatanna was scaling to Pralaya. Phoenix was scaling to Old Man Logan Phoenix, of all things. Weird choice. And I don't know what they were doing with Raven. Unkindness was put at omniversal, but then, like, I guess they decided Spectres, like, destroyed all of creation was the same as destroying, like, or destroy all of everything.
Omniversal, they just kind of brought it up.
It was so weird. Like, they should have used the same terminology to make sure it was clear. Because Spectres, like, they made very clear. Phoenix stopped the destruction, or a Phoenix Force user stopped the destruction of all Marvel Comics. Spectre, they just offhanded, like, he could have destroyed all reality. And is that meant to be the same? Like, I know what it's intended to be. I understand the intention. But for someone who's not as into verses as me, like more casual, that might be confusing. They would probably assume the unkindness was the main thing, but then that didn't get used in the fight.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like, it would be a bit silly for Raven to become that in the fight. I mean, it would make some sense, but it would still be silly, and it would be odd to force that into a 3-minute fight. Scarlet Witch takes one of the few W's I will happily give Scarlet Witch. She's actually got a direct omniversal feat that is used.
House of M moment.
Yeah, although they then go and, like, they try to backpedal. Like, she didn't destroy everything, which, like, shut up. Come on, give her the win, guys. I mean, don't. Zatanna won, but, like, give her that small W. Though, I guess, like, researchers already got harassed. Researchers already got harassed for Scarlet Witch versus Zatanna when they didn't deserve it. People shouldn't go harass them over this, too. This is just a personal beef with the...
Dude, watch Lucifer vs. Beyonder be the next Marvel vs. DC fight they have planned.
What do you guys think is the finale? Like, the final fight?
I don't know.
Well, if we're going off of what the cipher... Because I'm trying to think of what it could be based on the ciphers. I don't know. Because it's not Bill Cord or Colix. Saying that out loud sounds weird.
Not long ago, I would have said that I hope it's Swamp Thing Man Thing. But
But after 3, I think I'm good with Marvel vs. DC after this one. Especially in... But, like, at the same time, I just want one more to happen. Manhunter going into this fight with, like, nothing. So, like, I just want another to, like, redeem the irredeemable debate this one has, but, like, we've already had 3, so it's... you lose either way.
You missed the 2 that were actually debatable.
DC versus non-Marvel, because that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. Though at the same time, that doesn't happen every season. Season 4 didn't have one.
Yeah, and also like, what would they do? Like, I don't think they've looked at Doomsday versus 682. Kyle versus Seaman will probably be next season.
I mean, that one kind of got shot in the back a lot while you were gone.
Yeah, that's a weird one now.
Losing the poll when the big thing for that matchup was that the community loved it, and then it lost anyway. Admittedly, they put Billcord next to it, so
Yeah.
oops. But
It
also
might be John versus Radow.
Oh,
Rido.
yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
Hey,
That could totally be it. You are absolutely correct.
that's possible. At the same time, fucking hell, I don't need another just all cosmic. This is how strong they are. Also, I'm not
To be
sure how.
fair,
I'm not sure how I feel about that one as a death battle, just because with Rido, a lot of his stuff is summoning, and that would probably result in them having very little actually happen because they have to put so much money into making these unique sprites. Unless they do it in 3D.
Yeah.
Okay, it would be cool if they did it in 3D in like the sort of polygonal style of Shin Megami Tensei 3. That would be cool, and it would probably save a lot of money to just use the direct assets from SMT3 Nocturne, and then all they have to do is like either find or make a John Constantine model and then do his other things, like whatever he's gonna summon. Which I think John summoning is really lame to use in a fight, especially because a lot of people just try to turn the debate into fucking Lucifer versus Swamp Thing. That's so lame.
I think if like it's
And you-
summoning like spirit wards or like demons or like necromancy stuff some kind, I
Yeah,
think
but
that's
if
okay.
it's
Because
unnamed
like
shit,
those are
that's
more
fine.
like abilities, not direct characters.
But if you're fighting for this matchup and you want to see Lucifer versus Swamp Thing as the big thing, that's lame.
yeah.
I like Raido Kuzunoa a lot, and I
love
love
Constantine.
John Constantine so much. Let them be the ones.
Two great
fighting.
characters. Yeah, like they
Let
he-
Raido Boogie Woogie as well. The fact that he has a move called Boogie Woogie is the best thing in the fucking world. Like,
that's so awesome.
to me, as someone who's gone too deep into the Cool Cat lore and has fully embraced the absurdity of Cool Cat, the fact that I play Shin Megami Tensei 3 and I get to the fight everyone talks about, and the guy busts out Boogie Woogie, just lost my mind. I lost my
Honestly,
mind.
now I could see Constantine versus Raidu being the finale because it could be the pentagram symbol,
Yeah,
right?
it could be. But at the
Could
same
be.
time, there's also people saying the pentagram was referring to Killua Misaka because
Oh,
the symbol
right.
on the yo-yo. But
Rats. Oh, I don't know what it could be then.
yeah, I would say don't go too hard in the cipher, but you also just came back, so I'd say go as hard as you want. Everyone else has done it. You deserve to.
Yeah.
As well. Have your
Like,
fun.
yeah, if you couldn't tell this entire recording, it's been a long 2 years. So
People also think it's Ghost Rider versus Spawn, but I don't know how likely that is.
that'd
in
be
this-
that'd be cool. But at the same time, like we've already had a Marvel versus Nandis.
That goes literally right into the same fucking problem as that I have with Raido versus Constantine, where I like the matchup. I think it's cool. Not this year, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
do it
at a
next year,
state
or the year
where
after.
bare minimum, a quarter of this season is Marvel DC.
Yeah,
And
but
so
I feel
far,
like
three of those
just,
have been against each other.
just thinking about it, I'm trying to think of like, let's see, because last one was an anime fight. The one before that was
An
uh,
anime, right?
anime versus cartoon, Popeye versus Saitama.
Yeah.
The one before that was anime versus comic. I feel like, I don't know, maybe like hopefully they see this pattern and think like maybe the finale should be like nothing to do with comics or anime, and like maybe it could be like a video game fight or like just a
Mhm.
pure-blooded cartoon fight.
But it can't be Bill versus Discord.
Well, no,
Well, that's 'cause
that's
it's next.
That's next. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not Cole versus Alex.
That would
'Cause
be-
why would they reveal
I
the
mean,
finale?
It'd be
Yeah.
cool, but absolutely no fucking way. They must have had a finale prepared. They most likely had a full
Yeah.
season with 2 empty slots, and just went, go ahead. You'll let you guys
Yeah.
choose.
Then what? Yeah, I
What could it be? I
in
mean,
that case,
it's not going to be something wild like fucking Starro versus what's his face from Kirby, Dark Matter. That would be funny.
Goku versus Superman again.
No, I will
I would-
kill. I will strangle you to death.
I didn't jinx it. I didn't jinx
I
it.
strangled myself to death.
Don't worry, I'll give you CPR after. You'll be fine.
Thanks.
You're CPR certified?
Nope.
Oh, I am.
I'll do it anyway.
It expired like a year ago.
Yeah, me too. I went to Texas.
I am
And
good
it
at punching people. Can I use that to bring you back?
Honestly, the finale will be like Mormon Jesus versus Catholic
Look,
Jesus.
I'm in Australia. I'll just bring Akhil to Australia, and then him being dead will go upside down, and he'll be alive again. Simple.
Isn't Australia the spear of gods?
Yeah, something like that.
That makes sense. Could it be
Dang.
Odin versus Zeus?
No,
No,
no. I think I
nah.
didn't.
Although
I
I
mean,
think if they were to do a mythology fight, that's the next one.
that's
they'd
definitely the
probably
next
do.
one they do. I was gonna say that they talked about it as if it wasn't gonna happen. Then I remembered they did the same for Silver Surfer versus Martian Manhunter, and absolutely,
Yeah, you never.
almost
just
certainly
never know.
they had it in the pipeline when they were talking about how it would be better than versus Piccolo. It's almost certainly. So it probably doesn't mean much. I don't know though.
I wouldn't
Let's
be
see.
surprised if it's Doomsday versus SCP-682.
I'd kill myself. I'd strangle myself. No thanks. I'm not trying to see Doomsday get fed to some like funny regenerative lizard. But then again, Doomsday's kind of like that, minus the lizard.
I really like 682. I quite like Doomsday. I do not care about the matchup. I would be terrified of how they would tackle 682 because what I love about 682 has nothing to do with what the versus community loves about 682, which is the Leviathan shit, the like
What if
Scarlet King child shit. That
yeah.
stuff. SCP
What if they finally
682,
do a
whatever it is.
Christmas episode for the finale? DC versus Marvel Santa.
Oh my.
It's funny. I could go without it. I do not want a fourth. I do not want a whole quarter of this season to be Marvel versus DC.
Maybe Skellington versus Grinch. That'd be sick.
I'm still trying to.
That'd be funny.
Rudolph versus the Easter Bunny.
No, Rudolph versus Frosty. Actually, I'd cry because they're both such wholesome characters.
I mean,
I want to see them kill each other.
I kind of think Joker Green Goblin is possible, but again,
No.
I mean, at least it wouldn't be
No.
at least it wouldn't be cosmic. But that's the only plus I'd give it for this season is it would be a non-cosmic Marvel DC.
No.
I mean, as a finale, no, but as a future
No.
episode,
But then, like, watch them bring out like the best animation they've ever done for Joker versus Green Goblin.
Okay,
I'm
they
looking
might
at-
give it points, but like, it's just like I could just go without it. Just
So one-sided.
yeah,
Well,
like Joker.
there's
Like,
always
okay,
there's
Joker's a
always-
very large comic character to like pull from, but like, nothing's been pulled yet, as far as I'm aware of. Like, Joker has any win cons? Don't think he does.
There's always Shazam versus He-Man. That'd be cool.
That could be cool.
I'd like that.
That would be
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Let's see. I'm pulling up a list of the Death Battle cast episodes that have happened. I'm starting at 2022 to 2023 because they could be planned in advance. So like, I'll just go through them and see like which of these could seem like finale material. Geralt versus Trevor. No clue who those are at all. Wait, isn't Geralt from like The Witcher or something?
Yeah. Geralt is Geralt of Rivia is the protagonist of Witcher 3. And
okay.
I don't know which books he's protagonist of. That'd be cool because it would introduce a book character, and I'm pretty sure Trevor
That'd be
Belmont. I'm pretty sure it refers to Trevor Belmont.
But
from
realistically, would it?
the third
Yeah. I don't know if
Castlevania
it-
game and the Castlevania animated series on Netflix. That's a cool matchup. I would prefer Geralt versus Talion and Trevor versus Joseph.
Ash versus Yugi. Could be, maybe.
Could be. That'd be
Because
neat.
like people think the shuffle card is that matchup, so could
At
be.
the same time,
Maybe.
I feel like people have brought up the fact that Ash's win was relatively recent, so probably for next season.
Yeah,
I think they.
Um,
yeah.
I think it's wait, Freddy Krueger versus Jason.
Oh
Wait,
god, ew.
oh yeah, definitely not that one. Mandalorian versus Boba Fett. Nope. Arceus versus Beerus. I don't think they bring back Beerus.
Arceus is probably gonna fight what's his face?
Aslan. Jesus
Yeah.
Lion.
Don't like that either.
Which is also
Um,
so one-sided because Narnia's cosmology is just
Ridiculous.
yeah.
I mean,
Mario Kart
I
versus
would
Crash
really
Team
hate to
Racing.
scale Narnia cosmology, given half of it is directly adapted from biblical sources. So you're 50%.
Yeah.
You're 50% scaling biblical elements. So that's really awkward.
PSA:
Yeah.
Do not scale the Bible, please and thank you.
Yeah.
Archie Knuckles versus
Dying
Juggernaut.
in my server. I literally had to stop it. I was like, don't
Hmm.
do that.
I do not like
Okay.
Archie Knuckles versus Juggernaut.
See, I don't think it'll happen this year, but as far as like doing another Archie fight, this is 100% the next one to do. I don't know
Against
when,
Juggernaut?
but Archie Knuckles versus Juggernaut, yeah.
Bro, yeah, that one's weird because like people nowadays scale Juggernaut to Sidorak, but they still think Archie
Because
Knuckles wins, and
he's
I'm just
even
like,
if he's stronger, the thing is, he can't kill him. If he all he can do is kill Knuckles' body, and then Knuckles gets stronger and
Juggernaut
comes back,
sweep.
and then at best Juggernaut's gonna keep going until he just eventually dies.
but like if you're as strong, okay, well, I don't know if he has all of Sidorak's powers, but Sidorak can like punch conceptual entity, like
Yeah, but that's
the
hacks.
Phoenix Force.
That's like hacks. That's not like his raw strength.
Didn't Juggernaut literally undid a spell by eternity? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, well, Juggernaut's magic resistance is broken as hell. That's why. That's
Yeah.
one of the reasons I think Juggernaut versus Doctor Fate is so stupid. You're putting like Doctor
Ew.
Fate is really strong, but you're still putting a guy whose whole thing is magic against a guy who like 60% of his thing is magic. Don't work on me.
And
I'm
it's
the
funny
Juggernaut.
because like, and it's funny because like the weakness is like if you remove his helmet, Juggernaut's literally shown that he can just summon an entire new armor out of thin air.
To be fair,
Like,
Doctor Fate's also shown that he's still like a herald without his helmet, with his magic and
also
his
true.
power. So
Fate would win that, even
I
with
think-
yeah,
I think-
well, yeah,
Uh,
Fate 100% wins.
Fate is just different. Like-
Peacemaker versus Punisher. Nope, definitely not a finale
No, please
material.
don't.
Skyrim versus Dark Souls. Oh, so like this was happening as a DBC last year, and then it's as you can see, it happened this year.
Admittedly, I would probably take Peacemaker versus Punisher over.
Do you think it could be the
Punisher
Disney
versus Dredd.
Princess Battle Royale?
If it's that one,
That'd be fun.
you know what? I'll take it.
That would be
That'd be
hype.
fun.
That
That'd
would be
be
hype.
peak. Bowser versus Eggman. Definitely contender. I don't know about
I
finale.
really don't want
but
that. Like,
you don't like
neither
Bowser
of
versus
them.
Eggman?
Yeah, it's okay.
I
Breath-
think it's cool.
Breath of the Wild Link versus Aloy seems so stupid. Aloy,
No
what is she
bueno.
gonna do? Aloy is like
Uh,
capable, but she's not. She's not Link. And that like
Kirby
Breath of the
versus
Wild Link's one of the
Mario.
strongest links.
No. Definitely not Kirby versus Mario. Goofy versus Patrick Star. The peak. I would love it if this happened. Patrick Star is my second favorite character of all time behind the Flash.
Would it be
If-
Steve versus Terrarian? That would
That'd be
be
cool.
hype.
Maybe.
Oh, no.
Actually, probably not because
MCU
Steve was part of the ballot. So
Against Emmett
Was
from
he?
Lego Movie.
yeah.
But I think the community, I imagine the community backlash just, heck nah.
Oh yeah, the community was really entitled and bitchy over it. But the thing is,
ouch.
my main thing is that I think that if they had Steve Terrarian planned, especially for finale, they wouldn't have put the chance for a second Steve matchup in the same season.
I think what
MCU
they would
Thor
have probably
versus...
done is just scrap. Wait, no, but they work on finales ahead of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
MCU Thor versus Snyder Cut Superman is
Nope, not at
fine,
all.
but no.
Shifu versus Splinter. It could be. I've heard people theorize this is the Lotus. Could happen this season. Is it finale? I don't think
Probably
so.
wouldn't do it as a finale. I mean, I think it'd be cool
Yeah, definitely not.
as a finale, but I don't think they would do it as one.
Pattinson Batman versus MCU Moon Knight. Nope. No, thank you. Mickey Mouse versus Bugs Bunny. Aren't they explicitly holding on due to like waiting for Mickey's copyright thing to expire?
That will
Yeah.
not change anything. That only drops the copyright on Steamboat Willie.
Oh. Picard versus Thrawn. That'd be a cool fight.
That'd be
but as a
awesome, but I
finale-
don't think that'd be a finale. Even with the
Yeah.
draw of the Star Wars versus Star Trek rivalry, and the draw of Picard and Thrawn, I don't think they do it as a finale.
We're probably getting a Dragon Ball fight, so I don't know if Frieza versus Megatron
no.
is worthy.
I will
Also, we had a
rip.
finale last
I will
time.
rip your spine out.
Akio, yeah, Akio.
Don't worry,
I'll
I will weld it back into place, but I will still rip it out first.
Wall level feet Nemesis.
Do you
Wall
not like
level
that
feet.
fight?
Akil, have you
Akil,
not
have you-
paid any attention?
Akil, I've seen the video. Well, okay, that sounds like I don't watch Nemesis videos. Nemesis, don't worry, I watch your videos. But like, I'm pretty sure it's well known by this point that Nemesis and Frieza versus Megatron are putting Skittles in the same bag as M&Ms.
Fucking harassment that I've gotten over that video, and just the fact that in the worst parts of my life, people would still go out of their way to bug me about it and joke about the matchup and how much I dislike it. It's my least wanted. Like, for a moment, I
Yeah,
thought Galactus Unicron
it's
would get there, but the disappointment that I will inevitably feel for Galactus versus Unicron and how long
yeah,
I've waited and the death of the hype is not comparable to just the fucking shit I put up with.
yeah. So he does not like it.
Right?
I
Yeah,
for a
I
long
looked it up.
time,
There is a video. Why
for
I
a
don't like
long
Frieza versus
time,
Megatron.
the only episode I would have ever skipped would have been Frieza Megatron. Now it would be the
Oh.
third episode, but I will
Mhm.
I will skip it. I'm not watching it, and it would be unfair
Mhm.
on the creators of the episode and who works on it if I was to watch it, because my personal hatred will get in my way. And
Yeah.
it is hatred. Like, not necessarily for the matchup, but for what the matchup, like, the emotions and the memories that get drudged up from the matchup. Yeah.
That's fair.
Right.
That's fair. There are a few matchups like
Hmm.
that. Yeah, there's.
Shredder versus Ra's al Ghul. Nope.
Probably not gonna
No,
happen.
sir. Rick
Ew.
Sanchez versus the Doctor. Don't know about this season, but it sounds like they want.
It's definitely possible could happen.
Scooby Doo versus Courage. That'd be a peak finale. Don't at me. That'd be so funny. I swear. I remember someone giving me this like weird YouTube link to a video of like Scooby just like spinning around, then illuminating the entire universe.
Star-Lord versus Commander Shepard is a fucking... Why is Star-Lord, like, a
a
herald
dumb
now?
fight.
It was cool before they decided Star-Lord should just keep his god, star, sun power bullshit.
Yeah.
Now it
Vash
sucks.
versus Vincent. No clue who these fellas. Oh wait, Vincent Valentine.
Vincent Valentine from Final Fantasy VII, Vash the Stampede from Trigon. It's
don't know.
aesthetically cool. Don't like the matchup. Vash
Guts
does not
versus
deserve to die
Claire.
that bad. I mean, they just use Guts.
Well, yeah.
I don't think we're ever
Yor
getting Guts
versus-
versus Claire.
Beatrix.
Possible. Don't think it's happening this season.
Gojo versus Makima. Isn't this like one that got huge while I was gone? Since the two animes were like more
Yeah.
recent.
That's also some people have brought that up for the pentagram. I guess Yor versus Beatrix also could be the suit on the cipher.
Oh. It's a spy versus an assassin fight, so maybe that'd be a neat choice. Cause isn't Beatrix from Kill Bill?
Yeah, she dies horribly.
Yeah.
No chance. Absolute
Ouch.
sweep.
Piccolo versus Magus. Probably
Yeah.
not.
I mean, Piccolo's
Stitch versus
free now.
Rocket. That
Piccolo's
happens.
free now, but if they didn't want to put him against Martian Manhunter because Manhunter stomps him too bad, there's no way they're putting him against Magus. Piccolo wipes all the Chrono Trigger out before going orange.
Stitch versus Rocket. That
That
happened.
happened, yeah.
Zelda versus Lucina. Nope. Ken versus Rock Coward. Probably not. Ains Ul Gown versus Grim. What?
No, don't worry about it. Oh, Ghost Rider versus
Ghost-
Sans, very likely. High chance. Yep.
Skull Knight versus Nito. No clue. Probably not. Skeletor versus Ghost Rider.
That was like
I
a
mean,
skeleton.
honestly,
That was a skeleton
honestly,
battle royale. That's not happening.
per nature of Skeletor, the interactions of that would just be so funny, but
Was
also
that
like probably
even
not.
an actual like DBC?
That was like a battle royale between like skeleton characters.
Skeletons, yeah. Bowser versus Triple D. Nope.
Oh my lord, that existed. I didn't even know.
Kyogre versus Chaos. People argue this is
People
the
argue that's
wave,
the
but with
wave.
Stitch versus Rocket, I don't know
Yeah.
anymore.
Even Surfer versus Manhunter actually fits the wave.
Dude, I remember when you emailed me like saying like it's a stretch, but the wave could be Surfer versus Manhunter. Like,
Oh my god, I did say that!
You did. You
Oh
did
my
say that.
god!
And I was like, "There's no way, Nemesis."
I thought
am-
that Manhunter Surfer was something that I did not predict.
I'm not
You
even
just
joking.
reminded me. I
I'm-
fucking did.
Honestly, like no joke. Honestly, for like the viewers, I'll like pull the screenshot. Actually, not take too long. I can't be bothered.
I
yeah.
can find it. Just tell me when this timestamp is in the video.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
god, no!
But yes, Nemesis. So while I was in Texas, while I was on the mission, Nemesis let me know about the cipher. Like, and
Yeah,
then
I emailed him like every
he talked
week.
about the wave, saying the wave could be Surfer versus Manhunter because of like the board, and I was like, yeah, no, and I was wrong.
Oh, no.
I was Nemesis is a prophet. You heard it here first from me, Bang. He is a prophet. for that one.
As he should.
Yeah, Captain America vs. Kamen Rider Ichigo. With the
That's
ballot, nope.
Finale. Either.
Luigi versus Pac-Man, probably not the finale. That's not a finale material fight. Kylo Ren versus oh wait, I skipped one. Pit versus Zagreus. No clue who Zagreus is. Sorry to all the Zagreus fans.
Kylo vs. Edelgard's not happening till next season, maybe.
Fall Guys versus Among Us.
Same with Fall Guys versus Among Us. Ash versus Kai is never happening.
Okay, so that's 2022. But they've never done a DBC and then did that as a death battle the same year, right?
I actually don't know.
I don't think so. Cause yeah, looking at all these DBCs, none of them have happened yet. So
I'm still upset. They did Ryu versus Barbie. They did not even message me. They didn't even consider it. They didn't even come to me and go,
this is so sad.
Nemesis Bloodreich, you who has done that episode, you who know more than us about the legendary Barbie power scaling, give us your wisdom. Very upset.
There was a non-versus friend who told me like there was a Barbie movie called like Barbie like Starlight Adventure or something where like the entire plot is like Barbie has to save the universe because all the stars are dying.
She lights up every single star in the universe.
Yeah, so
That
Barbie's
is so
like
powerful
super cracked.
that even the 3D Street Fighter games that I've seen like star level calcs for that are completely non-canon, they do not save him. Scaling to Azura does not save him because Azura is not stronger than that at the time in which Ryu fights him.
It's so funny that Barbie's that powerful.
The only way he's
awesome.
going to beat Barbie is with Marvel vs. Capcom scaling because there are universal feats in those games. And even then, Barbie is the Dark Phoenix! Barbie has the Phoenix Force! Get fucked!
Oh, hey.
Yeah, she's got the
right,
Phoenix
Barbie.
Force.
Barbie does have.
Whoa, wait a minute! They did Blue Beetle versus Ben 10 as a DBC.
Yeah. They went so hard on that one. Apparently, because I've not watched it, but apparently it was brought up like the higher dimensional scaling for Alien X, and then the response was, "Yeah, well, but you could get Blue Beetle to infinite dimensions with the right scaling too."
Dude, Blue Beetle
like,
can
oh,
literally
shit.
enter the bleeding exit at will. Dude has like explicit causality.
Like, holy fuck.
Yeah, no, Beetle's ridiculous.
Beetle
Like,
is a lot stronger than I thought he was at one point.
dude, he's insane. Like, I think he beats all of his opponents except for maybe Robbie Reyes. But I actually think that one's debatable because there was one freaking panel where like, Blue Beetle literally like killed a guy who was cursed by God to like not die. The Scarab found a way to kill him anyways. So like that paired up against a freaking Ghost Rider's immortality sounds so hilarious. But
That
like,
actually does sound helpful.
I can see people side with Robbie though. But like, I think other than that, like Geostellar gets wrecked, Ben 10 gets wrecked, Darkhawk gets wrecked, freaking Iron Man. Well, it depends on what suit you give him, but most of the time, I think Beetle bodies Iron Man.
I think Beetle would be Iron Man in most of his suits. But
you'd have to give him
there
like Godbuster and shit to give him a chance.
Yeah.
No doubt he beats Marvel's Beetle.
It isn't Marvel Beetle. What a fella.
Blue Beetle is cracked.
Dude, he's ridiculous. I can't wait for the day Death Ball uses him.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to see him in a death battle, but I don't really know who they're gonna pick.
I don't really
fight him.
like.
Please don't pick Ben 10. Please don't pick Ben 10. Please.
I mean,
don't.
honestly, I would respect it if they went with Ben 10. They gave Ben 10 the highest scaling possible, and then they busted out Outerversal Blue Beetle, and we're like, yeah, Alien X is actually really strong.
I mean,
he still loses. Fuck you.
Blood got tech that can like detect the magical presence of the Phantom Stranger.
I would respect it so much if they went out with a big balls attitude like that of, yes, Ben 10 is stronger than we said. He still fucking
But so is
dies.
Blue Beetle.
Especially if they scale Blue Beetle to Green Lantern.
Now I
and
get this
use, like,
overwhelming premonition that Beetle will have a death battle this year because of the Beetle movie, the Blue Beetle movie.
Yeah, they're like almost
Oh,
nobody
won't
paid
happen.
attention to.
No,
very
that
sadly.
might actually make sense though.
It would be cool.
Yeah, but
But it would not be against Ben 10. It would most likely be against
Definitely not.
I want to say Geostellar.
Yeah, I think of all the
maybe
options, like
it's
Geostellar's the
Geostellar
safest.
or Max Steel, and I think Geostellar has a lot more of a draw.
Oh, wait, what about Generator Rex? Wait. Rex could actually be someone. Because, like, isn't Rex, like, universal? Or at least there's arguments for it?
Yeah.
Obviously,
Generator.
that won't do him any good, but
He's not
like,
winning.
Rex is a very Rex is a very popular
I would hope
fight for
Rex.
Beetle.
We get Rex versus Max Steel instead, because that just has a vibe.
Yeah, that would be much better.
You know, now I think about it, it'd be really funny if the recycle symbol was actually just meant to represent like a circle, like a cycling, and it was a fucking Beyblade matchup. I'd be so happy.
Oh,
That'd be the best thing on the fucking planet.
that'd be awesome.
That'd be peak death battle, just automatic.
Yes.
This recording has gone on for about
I was
2.5
gonna say,
hours.
I think it's almost midnight for Akhil and I. Once again, it's just like old times, fellas, like in Batman vs Iron Man.
Yeah.
Like
But
I never left.
this time we got off topic way sooner because that one had a lot more to talk about, a lot more debate.
Yeah, at least that one was debatable.
I'm still
Poor
upset
Manhunter.
that there's so much equipment they didn't give Batman. It wouldn't have helped him, but it would have been cool to see them bring up the fact that he can use his mixtape as a sonic weapon. That's awesome. And also when they brought up that they scoured all of Batman's comics in Black Panther vs Batman and he had nothing against vibranium, they clearly didn't scour the like 3 comics, not just one, the 3 comics where he hits people with his mixtape by pressing a button and using a sonic blast. Wouldn't have helped him win. He still would have fucking died, but it would have been funny.
Yeah.
Especially
I
because
think Batman does have a lot more against Panther than that episode stated. I don't think any of it would necessarily help him, but it would
I definitely
make
think
it closer.
he's got more of a chance than people give him credit. But he still has no solid way around vibranium unless you gave him the Hellbat, in which case he literally rips Panther limb from limb. Yeah. But don't do that. That's fucked up.
Final
Panther
Batsuit
also
versus
has a
King of
lot
the
more
Dead.
than that
That'd be
episode
interesting.
said.
Oh, Final Batsuit
Like-
would rip Black Panther apart too.
Oh yeah.
You think King of Dead? Black Panther?
No, like, well, yes, King of Dead.
I
but,
think Akhil recently
Batman's-
came out and said that he really struggled to find actual herald things for King of Dead.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know where that came from.
Yeah.
I have no
Yeah,
idea.
because people said he fought Thor, but I actually haven't seen that either. Although it's
Honestly,
funny, if you
I think Panther would struggle against the Justice Buster. Like that's a shit suit, but the red suns in the Knuckle Dusters that suit's got, that would eventually get through the vibranium in enough time. Like Panther can't do shit to the suit. Eventually, it's gonna get through and overload what he can take.
Well, the thing with Panther is he has a lot of Herald technology, and he can absorb energy to amplify his
Batman
stats.
though, actually, you told me he's got bombs that staggered damage. It's like a Justice League villain.
Batman's got the magic armor that could beat up Bizarro.
See, it's so funny. Batman literally has an ability to seal some battlefield removal, but then he says in that same panel, "I don't like using magic. You never use that spell." The dude knows magic that would take out Black Panther instantly, like in a normal fight. But
He never uses it.
I think the problem
Batman's
is
like, I don't
with
like magic. Freaking Batman, you're such a sissy.
With all of Batman's like abilities, unless you give him the magic armor and say that Panther's not allowed to kill him before he does that, I just think Batman will not win because Panther just needs to hit him once, really, and he'll win. And Batman needs to get around things with certain equipment.
Pretty much.
Also, Batman's stealth is like completely useless against Panther. Like it's more useless against Panther than it is against Spider-Man, because Panther can literally stalk your soul.
I think the only one of Batman's matchups where his stealth actually matters are Captain America and Solid Snake. And those are his worst matchups. Those are his bad matchups. I mean, Moon Knight, I don't know. Moon Knight's weird.
Yeah.
Moon Knight versus Batman is literally who can kill each other first, which sounds very like a normal fight, but it's like weird once you get down to it.
It's also
Moon
like
Knight
the
can
lame
one-shot.
version of Moon Knight versus Azrael, but less toxic, which is good.
I think Batman. Okay, I'm gonna say this here, and if anyone hates me for it, then you can hate me for it. I don't care. I still think I'm right. Batman versus Moon Knight is a closer fight than Moon Knight versus Azrael.
Oh.
Okay, that's out there.
I mean, maybe.
There it is.
All right,
It's not a
Reddit, you know
full
what to do.
fight,
What if he just like goes to like Moon Knight's god, what's his name, Khonshu, whatever, and just punches him with the Hellbat, and then like that's it. That's the whole fight.
peak.
That would be great.
Okay, yeah, we got off topic again.
Anyway, yeah.
Reminiscing.
Goodbye, everyone.
But-
You guys can say goodbye.
Wait. Okay, we forgot to do the season 11 stuff. I actually just forgot about
All
that.
right.
Yes.
All right, so hello everyone. So before we go, as you all know, well, some of you probably know, the champions ballot for season 11 was announced, and we're not sure if they're gonna do 2 polls or 1 yet. But here we are today. At least me and Nemesis. I don't know about Akil. If
I have no opinion.
if you love kaiju,
Akil
if you love giant
Akil
monsters,
doesn't love me enough.
if you love big, sweaty, giant, beefy kaiju, then please vote for Dystoria from Godzilla versus Iris from Gamera. It is an incredible fight with a great legacy of the final bad guys of the originating from the hubrises of humanity. Nemesis, I'm trying to remember. They originated from
Yes.
the very most fundamental parts of life, jellyfish and crustacean DNA, stuff like that. It is a great fight, and it is one that is Nemesis' favorite matchup, and because he told me so much about it. So if you love kaiju, this is the match that we need. Death Battle has not had any kaiju in recent memory, so please vote for Dystoria versus Iris. Thank you.
Yes, please do. I will be campaigning for that
And
as
if
much
not,
as I can.
vote Mogo versus Ego.
If we get 2,
Two, yeah.
there are a few matchups that I would consider secondarily going for, and Ego Mogo is one of them.
Boros versus Battle Beast is one that seems cool
Boris vs.
as
Battle
well.
Beast is cool. I would for one of you specifically probably watching this, I will also be willing to push for Dr. Manhattan versus Nixon from Monument Mythos as well.
Oh,
I like that
that's
a lot.
right. You told me about that one. But yeah,
I think it's
Dystoria
a very
versus
cool one.
Iris is the move. We are amassing an army as we speak to get people to vote for it. Become a champion, all that stuff. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Back to you, Nemesis.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thank you for that. I was just gonna say, hope you guys all enjoyed watching. Didn't do a prediction for the last episode. Still predicted it right anyway, because I am that good.
He is a prophet, as I said. He is a prophet.
We'll see if I got this one correct, and with my first incorrect one of the season. But yeah, you guys can say goodbye, and then I'll stop the recording.
Goodbye,
Well,
everyone.
thanks for being here, and-
It's good to be back.
Yeah. I'll see you
Yeah.
guys later, hopefully.
You guys are
Till we meet again.
you guys are so yin and yang that you said goodbye at the exact same time. Perfect.
We are quite literally Marvel and DC. We're John Marvel and John DC.
You two are the brothers. You two are the brothers from the crossover comic.
True.
Don't expose us. Don't do that.
All right,
Now
bye
we
guys.
have to go
Have
back.
a good one. I'll see
All
you
right,
next
goodbye,
video.
everyone. Have a good night.
Bye.